3, 2, 1, go.
Your turn to pick.
Let's go. This is domination among the things you've been waiting for. Headed to the top if we make it there, we'll be taking more. There's no INT, but something I guarantee is when you look into my eyes, it's determination you see. It goes without implication, innovation is at our eyes. So take a walk with a boss first, pick on flip side.
Hello everybody, welcome to episode 4 of First Pick. After a week off, we are back, and we have a full group of stand-ins today, but it should be a good show. We have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. So you saw him on episode 3, was it? Frost, he is back, and you got more light today. How's it going, Frost?
Wow, what a hater.
I know. I'm sorry, I gotta do
It's going
something.
well.
It's going well?
All right. Well, thank you.
I like the beard. No Shave November. I see you're supporting it. It's very nice.
Yeah, right.
Good.
Absolutely.
Good. I can
You're the
respect
beard.
that. Good. And also joining us today is Maut. Maut, how's your life going after you get back from MLG?
It's going, I guess. That's about all I can say. Honestly, I have no idea how my life is going at this point. I'm just kind of living from day to day, surviving, doting.
All right,
That's
what could
about
be worse?
it.
Surviving's okay. It could be worse than that.
Yeah, but I could be making a lot of money and like also feeling very, I don't know, comfortable in the Dota scene. But I'm not doing that either.
So you're
I'm
saying
depressed,
it's
guys.
jealous of capitalist.
Yeah, I am. I'm jealous of the capitalist right now, man. What I would give to be that guy.
I know.
Game is hard.
It is.
It's very sad. I don't know. I got nothing for you. I had nothing to lift your spirits up. I do therapy, so if you're willing to do pay me some good money for therapy sessions,
How much are we talking about here?
kind of a lot, maybe like 100 an hour or so.
That is a lot of money. No, I think I'm gonna have to.
All right.
I'm gonna have to go elsewhere.
Okay,
Sorry though.
bummer. I don't take insurance just yet because I'm not licensed, so it's an unfortunate part. And also joining us to round us out today, Bdiz. How's it going, man? First time coming on. Thanks for being here.
Sounded like a good time. I'm always down for a good time.
Yeah.
I hope
try to have
Maut
a
doesn't
good time.
disappoint.
I know. He just kind of like let us off on a bummer. Like we were having this good talk about
You know
making
about
money
me.
and stuff, and then it's like, ah, shit. Not as cool as the capitalist.
Sorry. I mean, what do you want me to do?
Okay, so wait here. How about this? So
In fairness, though, I've known Cap too long.
too long.
So Cap's been grinding for almost like 4 years, though, Travis.
All right, fair.
You've had
Fair.
a much smaller time, and with all due respect to Cap, Austin will probably tell you, you've come along a lot further than he did at the same time. But he had to grind a lot. I mean, we're going pre-Dota Live, like game replay days. Like it's, so he's finally getting his break now, and this is like 4 years after he originally started. You came onto the scene, and you flamed out almost. Like I mean, you came out of nowhere and just boom. I mean, you were just at MLG, and this is what, a year and a half in.
Maut,
Right.
you've taken your shirt off more
He's
than he has.
grinding.
All right?
So don't worry about it, bro.
I
You'll
can't
get there. Like I
so-
told you, you'll get there. You got it. We got you too.
All right,
So what
so-
you're saying is I'm a big deal, right?
What I'm saying is you're definitely a big deal. You
You're a
just
big
need to
deal?
believe You're a big deal.
You're a big deal, and you have a lot of friends. So
Thank you.
True. I do have a lot of friends. Bdiz knows about all my friends.
We're stroking that
And
ego.
your brother's like a chemist.
Yeah, he is. My brother got a piece.
You need to turn him into Walter White. He could fund your Dota experience.
Yeah, I told him that. He's just like, yeah,
All
I
right.
want to get shot though.
Okay. I mean,
great.
I understand.
spoiler alert, jeez.
Oh shit! Yeah, sorry. Well,
okay.
it would have been. Oof. Sorry,
I'm sorry.
everybody.
It's
okay.
alright. It was just a dream.
It was just
Yeah.
you woke up from the dream the whole time.
That would have been the sickest ending, though. Like, on some serious
Oh,
stuff,
God.
if that would have been the ending, would you have been upset?
If it was a dream, yes, very much
I
so.
thought that was
territory.
Wow.
That's like the easy
But I
way
thought
out.
that was the gene. Oh, man.
I was like, oh
about you,
shit, we
Bdiz?
don't know what to do. It was a dream the whole time.
That topic, everyone's gonna be like, "Fuck." So
Yeah. So hey, I got a question though for Bdiz. So we had Merlini on, then we had Cap on. Cap said he was the poor man's Merlini. Now we don't have Cap, we have Maut. So what does that make Maut?
oh boy, gonna get flamed.
The poor man's NY John.
Oh,
Okay.
oh man, he doesn't even cast anymore, man.
That's the point. Straight for the jugular.
I knew it was coming. I saw it. I'm just like, it's gonna happen. I just got to deal with it. All right. Well, see if I cast with you anymore.
Condolences.
Yeah. Well.
It's good stuff. This is going just like I planned today, so I'm in good spirits and got a good beer today too as well. So we're enjoying that 4-day holiday. Let's talk about Dota because we haven't talked about any Dota yet. Let's talk about DreamHack since that just happened. Frost, you watched all of it because I know you do. How did you think the tournament went so far? I mean, or I guess it ended now. So as far as the games, the production, all that kind of stuff, how did you like it?
I thought the production was pretty interesting. I thought the graphics and overlays were exceptional. I think that that's the one thing about the good studio is they keep raising the bar, and I thought it was, I mean, fantastic. Honestly, I thought the panel. Not gonna lie, I felt this was one of the worst panels I think I've watched. Like I had it muted most of the time. There was a lot of Toby hate. I thought the Toby Draskell combo is actually pretty good. I would really like to hear more of that. I don't know how their relationships are or all that stuff. So I don't really speak to Andy about Toby if I speak to him. So the games I thought were pretty fun to watch. The thing that sucks is there weren't too many close series, but the strategies were pretty interesting. So I liked the tournament. We spoke briefly before the show started. I'm glad Fnatic made a finals. I thought that team definitely deserved it. They've been one of my favorites for a long time, so very happy for them. I'm glad Na'Vi actually took a DreamHack. So I mean, all in all, I thought it was a really good tournament.
I think the best part of the production stuff, you said overlays, was that kind of like win percentage triangle. Did you see that one where it was like hero A, B, nice. And C, and then you got all the percentages like these two together, and it's like 60%, and all three together. I thought that kind of stuff was, at first it was like, oh my god, this is overwhelming. Why is there a triangle? And why is there this shit going on? But once you kind of figured it out, it was like, oh shit, that's really cool. So I really liked that part. Bdiz, did you check those games out?
I watched a good portion of it. The earlier games I did not watch because they started at like 4 a.m. or something, 5 a.m. Eastern time, so I watched the VODs for the games I missed, but I want to say the production was great. They need to hire a new sound guy because that was awful to listen to. If you watch, I'm talking about that constant buzzing that was going on.
Yeah.
I know that the casters mentioned how it was affecting them a lot as well. Unlike Hector, I actually really like the TriCast. I think like Pyrion added this funny element of the guy that knows nothing, and he would always come in at the right part of the game too, because into those stale periods where there's no farming, he would say something, and that gives something for Draskell and Toby to talk about. Yeah. So I really like the whole TriCast and Pyrion's edition. Draskell is great as always, and Toby on land is just the best.
He's very good.
I agree.
Toby is a very good land caster.
I think the TriCast, I agree with you, Bdiz. I think it was really good. I think honestly it was entertaining to me because I always love listening to Pyrion because he's funny, and even though he doesn't know that much about Dota, he always asks actually like decent questions, like questions that people that are just into Dota and that don't like really like watch it a lot in the pro scene. I think he has a lot of good questions. I think, and then you talked about Toby and Draskell. You put the two best casters at a LAN event together, and they're going to have a really good cast. I've always been a big fan of Draskell, obviously, being an American caster. I think he did a great job, as always. I think Too Good did a good job of hosting. Bruno was okay. Not that I watched a whole lot. I actually, admittedly, didn't catch enough of DreamHack. I've been kind of all over the place recently, but from the games I watched, like you said, it wasn't very close. But I think it was an all in all a good event, a very good event. I wish Liquid did better, but what are you gonna do?
Liquid on LAN. Oh no. No, they're actually a good LAN team, but they're good LAN players individually. They're just getting their teamwork together.
Yeah, they are, and I think part of that is when we went to MLG, obviously, and when I was there, I had the luxury of dining with them for dinner, and they're all like really quiet people. Like the most, I think, talkative person on that team is Way2, and I think it's just like they need to start coming into their own. I mean, they need to feel comfortable playing with each other on the LAN event. So maybe that's part of the issue, but I think they'll get it because they're really good players, like individually. So
yeah, freaking Frost. killed the whole overlay.
Oh, the overlay's gone.
Just broke everything. It was broken. At least Bdiz still has this kissing booth picture up there, so he looks very, very nice.
I got a nice flower over my ear.
Yeah, he looked very handsome.
Oh, you have
today.
a Tidehunter picture. What? Why is that you? It's like, that's not Bdiz.
Yeah, it's great. Fucking Frost. But I was gonna say is, you know, Liquid had that sick win streak going into MLG, and like you said, Liquid on LAN is just not. Man, I was hoping they'd pull out way more than they did, and just very, very unfortunate. There you go. Overlays fixed. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, do you think there's anything up with Liquid, or do you think it's just LAN is just such a different atmosphere?
It takes time for new teams to get used to each other on LAN.
Mm-hmm.
Like Fluff, Koi Quad, TC, they all raise their individual skill level when they're on LAN. They all get better. But their teamwork just isn't the same on LAN. They have Boba, who's the playmaker for their team, and he's got a funny tendency. The one game I watched of Liquid against Na'Vi, Boba went off at the start of the game. He was 8-1 on Clockwork.
Yes.
But he's got this tendency, and he's always had it, where he goes for KSs, or, you know, kill steals, kill secures, with his rocket all the time on Clockwork. So he's got like a 5 or 6 kill streak at the time. Liquid takes one bad team fight because Fluff picked support bottom again, and he missed an arrow. And if you miss the arrow on support bottom, you're a worthless hero that shouldn't even be in the game. That was a little harsh, but they missed the arrow. Bubba hooks in. He's got a 6 kill streak or 5 kill streak. He dies. 750 gold, going the way of the other team, and then they just build like 3 Midases off of that 1-1 team fight because Bubba gave so much gold away. Just to go back to the point of him doing the kill stealing stuff, that is a habit that I think he needs to break on certain heroes, because he really screwed them over a lot by feeding away that much gold. And that's just a byproduct of one bad team fight and one person having a massive streak early on in the game.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
See, I haven't. That's a really good point. I didn't think
that's
about that.
the thing that that I've been speaking with a lot of people about. That it's almost dangerous to snowball on one hero, because the kill streaks, what people don't realize is now it's almost worth it to even just instinctively attack the one hero with a major kill streak, no matter who it is, even if it's like a support or, you know, a really tanky hero that you normally won't go after, like a lone druid that had a really phenomenal early game, because the kill streaks, and I know exactly what he's talking about. They made, I don't know the exact, but it was over 1,000 gold off the one kill. That's dangerous. That's
a whole lot of money.
And the thing is, Clockwork isn't a hero that needs the farm anyway. So if other people would have gotten the gold, he would have been in the same position regardless, because even if he gets an early blade mail, he still doesn't have the hit points to actually effectively control a fight with the blade mail. They're still going to just kill him. So it would have been better if they spread the wealth a little bit. But, I mean, he hit the nail on the fucking head there, because that's exactly what I was talking about going into that.
He had such a good point.
Boba, I mean, Bdiz, you can tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like he's increased, over the last year, I feel like he's been getting so good. I mean, he's incredible right now.
He's definitely been getting better as a player. He's just got that one bad tendency. And I actually think I said it was against Na'Vi, but I remember now that it was against the Lions.
Yeah.
In the loser bracket when that happened. It's just like that one tendency where it's usually good, you know? Yep. He's not a player that farms a lot, so he gets a lot of his gold through kills. But if you're the Clockwork and you're building up a kill streak, then you've got a problem. Other heroes that he plays, it definitely isn't a bad idea, though.
Yeah, like if he were any other hero, that game would have been way different. But because it was Clockwork that had all those kills, I completely agree with Robert that if other heroes got that, if he wasn't so greedy, in a sense, that I think they would have been way better off. Because once he died, that's a lot of gold going the other way. Oof. That was tough.
Yeah, I'm inclined to believe that Liquid is going to turn it around, and honestly, they haven't played poorly in any of their events. Really, I think that some of their drafts have been interesting to me. I think, especially at MLG, I was just kind of like, I don't know about that draft. I mean, you go back to the Fnatic game, and I can understand them putting a lot of the emphasis on TC farming away with an anti-mage, but I feel like it's not the path you do that necessarily. I feel like, and they just didn't have a good start in that game in MLG. And DreamHack, I didn't really see much of their games. I saw like them playing up against, I think it was Nav. No, they played. I was watching the Alliance games they were playing. They just had a rough time, I think. So they just, like you said, I think they need to just get used to each other, especially on LAN. And there's still a lot of tournaments coming up, and they're going to play really well in the near future. And I think they're going to be one of the teams to become, TI4. But as of right now, they just need to get their play a little bit more organized because I watched some of the games, and like you see, and they like that you can tell that they are miscommunicating, because like TC will go to chase after somebody and the rest of the team will be like coming with him, or they'll like overextend or something, and TC's like on a weaver, so he thinks he can't die, and then he gets like fiends or something, and all of a sudden he doesn't have time lapse, he just gets focused down too quickly with like a million nukes coming at him, and then he dies, and then that kind of sets off a chain reaction where they can't fight and they have to back off. So like it's either a little bit of miscommunication, over pursuing, or just not being in the right positioning for any of their fights, and it just looks like they're a little bit out of sorts. So it's like once they get that ironed out, once they know they can fight, they just have to make sure that they actually initiate the fight in a good position. They don't get caught at a position, and I think that has a lot to do with just them being, okay, are we fighting here, or what are we doing, and them not being sure about exactly what it is. But that's just my opinion on it anyways, and I think
I'm going to get killed for this, and the two of you can correct me if I'm wrong, but TC, when they were fire and they transitioned into complexity, was one of the stronger mid players at the time I felt in the NA scene, even over Fear, who at the time was playing mid. Then he transitioned to carry so that JO can take over mid, because JO wasn't as efficient with his farm as TC wanted to be. So TC transitioned into carry, and from his transition to carry, I feel like, with all due respect to him, I love him personally. I think he's awesome. But Cook hasn't gotten much better. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier about Boba. Boba and Fluff, I think, have gotten way better since complexity. I feel like TC has stayed the same. And it's really difficult for me to understand why, because the two of you have gotten to know TC, I'm assuming, since, especially Robert. He's a smart guy. Like, he's one of the more analytical thinkers of Dota that I've been around. I just can't understand why I feel like he reached a plateau, or he's at a plateau right now. Because I remember Chappie, for the longest time, was like, yo, this guy's going to be the next big thing. I feel like his teammates have progressed, and I feel he's just stayed very stagnant. Am I incorrect? Do you guys think I'm incorrect in that thinking?
Oh, I definitely think he's been getting better. Everyone, like, you either get better or you just drop off completely. And he hasn't dropped off, so he's definitely been improving.
Okay.
That's for one. And then other than that, I think he's not really a risk taker. He is a mechanical player that he's just always had amazing mechanics. He plays safe, and he's just going to beat you based on his superior mechanics. That's, he doesn't take risks to try to go for greedy kills that will probably get him killed. The one thing that's really changed in Liquid I've seen is like their teamwork and team fights. They don't feel super reliant on keeping TC alive and getting him huge because of Koikwa and the presence he has. Koikwa really plays like the hard carry from the offlane position a couple of times, or more than a couple of times so far for them in matches that I obviously have no idea about the scrims. So they bait TC a lot in fights now, so he just doesn't have that impact. And some of the times when they choose to bait him, he's on a hero like Gyrocopter in a matchup against CK, where he's going to need to get 4 or 5 slotted. Then the time comes and he's got 3 extra deaths to his name, he's been off the map for 3 minutes dead, not able to farm because of fights where he's been the bait. And he's down an item to the other team's carry and he can't really do anything. So I think the bigger problem is with the Liquid's playstyle, not any of their individual skill or anything. Their teamwork and playstyle is just kind of off. The two dominant playstyles right now are the heavy pressure. We're gonna pressure you from multiple angles and go for early towers. That's kind of the DK and Navi style and way of playing things. DK, of course, changes their style from game to game a lot more than any team that I've seen. But Navi, they're usually just high pressure early game, and that's what they go for. Then there's we're gonna outsmart you, we're gonna pick and choose our battles, and we're gonna play for the late game. And that's where Alliance and Speed falls. They're more intelligent about the way they go through the game, and they know that, hey, our lineup can't fight right now, so we're gonna wait. There was one game I watched of Alliance where they picked in MLG, they picked a really weird Night Stalker for Loda, when they had Admiral Bulldog
Yeah.
and the Bear,
Mm-hmm.
and they were just getting crushed throughout the early game. I think it was against Sigma. I'm not 100% on that though.
It was.
Then someone on their team gets picked off mid, and S4's like, okay, they just got to pick off. They're gonna get out of position and be too confident, so we're gonna fight them right now. Before Bulldog had his Radiance up, and he just gets a 4-man RP, and boom, right from that game turned right on its head, and Alliance steamrolled. Speed Gaming, I think everyone knows about them. They get their Midases, they play greedy, they get their farm, but they know when to take fights and how to take fights. They come from weird angles and just overwhelm you. Meanwhile, Liquid, they kind of try to put early pressure out to get towers. You know, sometimes they get the towers, sometimes it fails, obviously, but their teamwork isn't. They try to do like a mix of both play styles. Is what I should have said. Oops. Their teamwork and just the decisions that they make to bait certain players like TC, and putting a lot of pressure on Bulba to be the sole playmaker of the team, having 2 really farm-dependent players and 2 supports that also farm a lot, also hurts them.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing I noticed too. Fluff. No. I mean, it's fine. You make good points though. I mean, I for one don't mind to listen if it's right, like if it's smart, if it's good. That's the one thing that he said that's actually true. Fluff is one of the greediest supports I've ever seen. That guy, like, he forces no matter what support you're playing the 6 role. Like, you're not playing the 5, you're playing the 6 or the 7. I haven't seen that guy buy a ward since I think Dota 2 came out. I can't remember, like.
Not anymore. But IXMike, that was true. IXMike definitely played a 6.
No way too though. I see it a lot, honestly, because he's normally the one that gets the Midases on that team.
With way too, it's more like they're both playing the 4.5, depending on what hero. Or they both put. Or Fluff has his signature heroes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And way 2 has his, and they just kind of like mix out who's playing who's getting more farm based on what hero combination they have for their supports. But they definitely both contribute now. Before it was like Fluff would buy it if he absolutely had to, and Mike couldn't afford it. But Mike was definitely like a 6, maybe even a 7 at times. I've also been in those shoes though. They're painful shoes.
Shit's hard, bro.
Those shoes don't sound nice at all.
No.
I think on one hand, it's hard to sit here and say that Liquid's not playing super great when they in DreamLeague or DreamHack. I always say I guess it is DreamLeague, but DreamHack, they lost to Navi. I mean, how many teams are going to lose to Navi and Alliance in a best of 3? Pretty much all of them.
No,
I guess at MLG they had a not so good showing, so that's I don't know. I guess that's where you have to focus more of it.
Right.
It's 3 lands in a row, and this is a team that is really like the best American team right now, or North American team. Like speed, I kind of don't consider, despite them winning. Definitely as a North American team, having 3 Canadians with Arteezy as a stand-in. But now I just kind of consider them more of an international team. Team Liquid's that really only North American hope because EG's kind of like they're kind of depressing.
I agree.
Like there's no way to put it. They need
so
to get
mean,
some
man.
stuff figured out.
Okay, so we talked about this, I think, last episode. What do you think is up with EG? Do you think...
I want to go back to just the...
Okay.
Yeah.
We got high expectations for Liquid, 3 lands in a row, terrible performances. They went 2-2 at Nexon, losing twice to Fnatic, which I guess isn't, like, super terrible, considering I think Fnatic's in that top 4 of the West echelon, and Liquid's, like, just below that, with the other 2, or the 3, rather, in the top 4, obviously being Speed, Na'Vi, and Alliance. Then MLG, 3-5, pretty disappointing. And now 4th place out of 6 teams in the DreamLeague is also pretty disappointing, especially when you consider they only did better than VP and EG, and VP just, like, disintegrated. That team's gone, apparently.
Yeah, that team's done.
EG is abysmal right now, so it looks like it's not a bad showing, but it really isn't good either.
I think Team Liquid, I don't think individual skill is the issue. I think the biggest issue that they had, because, like I said, I feel like the players have gotten better, and when they made the switch with EG for Boba and Jo, I felt like they got the better end of it. I think it's upstairs. I think that's the issue. I think they're really good. Like, I still think that they can be one of the top teams in the world. I just think that there are things that they need to clean up, and more importantly, like I said, I think TC is one of the better players overall in the game.
When you say
I'm hoping to see.
Sorry?
I'm sorry. No.
When you say that
I'm
the
sorry.
issues are upstairs, is it mental or management?
Well, no. It's mental.
Clarify.
It's team thing. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's teamwork, because I'm not as close to this team as I am some others, so I can't really speak on it. I knew them when they were really cool with Chappie because of me, Cap and Chappie. So when they were with Complexity, I had them at arm's reach. I no longer have that same relationship with the players, and I don't speak to them as actively. But what I can tell you is it seems like it's upstairs, because individual skill, I'm not sure if you'll agree, either Travis or you, Robert, but I feel like individual skill isn't their problem. That's a good team.
No, I agree
That's
with
a
you.
good
I
roster
agree
on
with you.
paper.
It
So
is.
there
It's
has
a
to
very
be
good
something
team.
wrong. Like, those are really
It's-
good players.
I think it's more or less just like we talked about. It's just them getting over it. First of all, this is a relatively new team. If you go back to Bulba, Fluff, and TC have been together for a while now, you add two more players to your team, especially two players that you don't necessarily play a lot with.
Yeah.
And that's going to be difficult for any team to overcome. And you see it with every team that just starts together. There's very few teams that come together as a team and just start doing ridiculously well. I mean, you look at Speed; they've been KP for a while. The Alliance Note Hunter maybe last year. That's fine. But those are ridiculously good players. With Liquid, I feel like, and these guys want to do well. They all like each other. There's no, they are very, very good, and they clearly are going to work well with each other. I just think they need time. That's my honest opinion. I think they need time. So, I don't know.
Yeah. The one thing I can disagree with is you saying that when teams come together, they don't just click right away. That's not true. Teams have honeymoon phases.
That's true.
Like,
Okay.
DK,
EG
most
doing-
notably,
EG
recently.
Yeah, DK as well. Jesus.
Yes.
They came on, what, 26-0
They
or
were
something?
Undefeated.
Yeah.
I think it was like
Yeah.
18-0, but they didn't lose.
But it goes
to
both
them.
ways. You can either have a
EG
honeymoon phase where you're wrecking, or you can have a phase where you're absolutely
Oh,
trash.
yeah,
It goes both
true.
ways. So
And on the EG topic, we said last week, we actually spoke about this, Robert, and I don't know if you agree, but I feel like I love Fear. I think Fear is one of the more skilled players in the world. I think that he just needs to be saved from himself. I think the decisions that he makes as a captain, not in game, but on personnel, I think is a problem. I think he needs to be more selfish in this area and stop picking friends or people that are just going to say yes all the time. I think he needs people that are equally as good. I think what the route that Burning took is one I think he can learn from, because, and we'll probably talk about this later, but Burning is no longer the star of the show on his own team. And I think Fear needs that, because I think him being able to pick and choose who he wants when he wants, he clearly hasn't made good decisions. And it's been a long time. So
with Fear's decisions, and this is firsthand on having me talk to him. Used to be on the team, getting kicked, getting replaced for the new guys that are in there.
Yep.
He went for a team of people that he knows are hardworking individuals that have the individual skill, and they're going to be able to not only be good friends, like a really solid, tight-knit group, kind of like the Fanatics and Alliance, and even his Navi has been like together for a while. He wants to have a team that will be together for a while, and he wants hard workers that will spend 16 hours a day if they need to working on their Dota to get better and get to the level that they need to be at. So it's kind of like a project team where
sure,
they don't have the greatest players right now, but look at Alliance when they formed a team. You were like, who's S4? Who's Bulldog? Who's EGM? He was on that team with Wagamama that kind of did okay, but not much.
Yeah.
Who's Ake? Oh, he was really good in Dota 1. He was great in Han, and he's not really done too much in Dota 2 yet, if I remember correctly at the time. And Loda, he's always been around. But that was a team that came together, and now that they're the best team, Well, maybe not.
well, if
right
that's
now,
his
they-
build and his mentality,
Yeah.
I think that's correct, because you guys don't know firsthand, but when Mania Miguel were thinking of the new roster, and they ended up picking up the French and Fata, when they were playing under Flipside. That's the one thing we spoke about was, hey, we make sure you pick a team of people that care, that work hard, don't try to go for star power, and that's the team that they ended up going after. I think that's a good route. I was just saying we were not really so much talking about EG in particular, but we were talking about fear, and I was just saying it's a shame that we have one of the more talented players in the world who's been around forever, played with Mania way back when, and he's American, and he's not highlighted because of the performances of his own team. And I feel like it's a shame that more people can't really, appreciate fear for himself. Because I said after TI2, I don't know if you were around on the Dota scene as heavily as you are now, of course. He dominated he had a 4-month stretch, bro, where he was whooping everyone's ass. Scandal from Empire when Scandal was like the next best thing and Empire was good. Dendy, he was shitting on everybody when he took over mid. After TI2, he had a 4-month stretch where he was just dominating everybody. And then he went back to carry.
TI2?
I said just after TI2.
Okay, I was on the team just after. And he played mid for like 2
for that.
At most. Before we
sure, but he was wrecking. Sure, but he was wrecking everyone.
After we were a good team, we started struggling. He went to mid in like January, not in that period. Just after TI2 going into 2013, he was playing carry then, and Gio was mid.
Okay, so maybe I had the months wrong. But the point was, he went through a stretch where he was dominating every mid, and it's a shame that nobody recognizes that. Because I think after that he went to support. But the thing is, he's so good, he can literally hop on mid, practice there for X amount of time, compete with the best. He can go to carry, he can do the same thing. He can go to support, he can do the same thing. And it's a shame that because of the results.
The one that he would need the most work to put in is probably offlane. He hasn't played that since like TI1/Dota 1 days.
Yeah.
He's definitely just a phenomenal player with an amazing work ethic, and the EG team right now though it's more of like a growing pains kind of process where they'll get there. Just gotta have some faith in them. I have faith in them. They'll figure it out.
I hope they do, because people like to hate on EG. They call them Yankees of Esports. Yeah, some people just love them, some people hate them, but I think it's good for North America if EG is good. That Liquid EG rivalry is really fun to watch. I mean, we got Alliance Na'Vi, but imagine if we had Alliance Na'Vi and you had EG Liquid here in North America. I mean, a lot of people tune in to watch that.
Yes.
So I don't think I know enough of like them personally, if they jive together and if they're going to get there or not. But it would be nice if they get there sooner rather than later, because it does suck to see them in a tournament like DreamHack and they just get 6th. And it's like, they get for 5th, I guess. But it's like,
I'm just afraid for fear the way I'm afraid for Mania. And that up front and personal, Finch.
Mm-hmm.
That's my fear. Is I don't want him to retire and not get appreciated the way that he should. Just like Mania, right? Like, but the thing is, it all goes back to results. This is a now business. So I just feel like we have one of the best talents, and he's American. But because of their performances, he doesn't get the due that I think he deserves, and that's my biggest fear. So that's how the conversation came about last week, Robert. So it was interesting you said that.
All right, we've gone on way off topic here. We've made a left turn, and we've just kept going left. So at least it was kind of interesting.
Now we made it all the way back.
How about we talk about?
Kept making lifts.
Can we talk about drama?
We were talking about DreamHack.
Yeah, no.
It all started.
We started there.
Out the window.
DreamHack was fun. It was a great tournament and a great watch. Let's talk about drama. You guys want to talk about drama?
Let's please.
All right. Real quick though, Demon's going to Korea. He's joining MVP. So that is that. Now let's talk about drama, because I know this will take forever.
I think it's going to be good for the Koreans, because I think he's a good enough player that he can help them a lot, actually. So. Yeah.
He's going to like coach and mentor, and then also be a player for a month or 2.
10BZ. Yeah. 10BZ's getting him on his team.
Isn't it funny that him and now Blitz, I guess, are going to be kind of the stars in Korea. So I don't know. I find the Korean stuff fascinating.
I don't really look at that Korea. See, I don't think they should be playing. I think what they should have done is put people to help teach.
Oh yeah, they can help teach, but they can just them being there gets more people to tune in to the Korean stuff.
Absolutely.
That alone is
But I
worth
think
it.
it's sort of it's not helping him get better anyway, because he's going to be playing against people that aren't up to his skill level. I think if
But-
he's teaching them, that'll be way good for the Korean scene.
Look at it from his perspective. He's going to be able to go compete again, which he's been wanting to do. Right? That's like what's been driving him crazy, not being able to be on a team and compete. He's the whole Take 5 fiasco, and then Dignitas kind of going.
God.
He's had a rough like 2 months.
They died.
He
Yeah.
really has.
So he's gonna have a team that he can compete with, and he's gonna be able to help them improve, and at the same time prove something to the Western scene that, hey, I'm a different person now. You can actually have me on your team, and prove
That's
something
true.
to fear as well.
That's true.
I'm not gonna.
No,
I'm not gonna say it.
I was gonna say I think you're right. I think it's a win-win-win for him. It's kind of a no-brainer. And didn't he say it's only for like a month, right?
Yeah.
So it's essentially a vacation. He gets to go play Dota. He gets to hang out with some Korean guys, meet some Korean chicks, eat some Korean barbecue.
Well,
it sounds
it's more
great.
of he's gonna also be in the Korean training house, and their practice regimen is much more strenuous, and just like you're constantly playing. You're not just lounging around by the pool or something. You're actually like
Sounds
putting
nice.
the hard work in.
You know about
And
that?
it's
Speaking
gonna
of
change.
Yeah, like
personal
Bdiz,
preference.
right? Getting his fucking tan up there in Arizona, or down there, excuse me.
Oh man.
It's gonna change his outlook on hard work and what it actually is. I think it's gonna be good for him.
Dedication.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good for Korea though. Like to have more skilled players help develop them. That's gonna be excellent.
Definitely, for sure. All right, so let's talk about drama. Which one should we start with? Should we start with the American drama? I guess like I don't know, or the Russian.
Well, we have
drama?
NA's fighters right here. So
we got two
might as
good-
well. We got
Talk about-
Travis and Bdiz.
Listen, all right. I'm gonna lay down the law here about
All right.
speed gaming and Marco.
Okay, let's start
Oh.
with that then. Go for it.
Officer Travis.
First things first. I don't know how you guys feel about him. I feel like you should feel pretty poorly about him. I personally think this guy is a piece of shit, in my honest opinion. I do not like Mark Fernandez. I don't think anybody likes him for a couple of reasons. Okay, everyone heard about this drama. I knew this was happening before. Well, I'm not a hipster or anything. I'm not trying to imply.
It's
I'm a
okay. You can be a hipster. That's cool. We like hipsters.
But-
That's fine.
When Charlie came back from Korea with Dignitas, and Bdiz, I'm sure you heard about this as well because you were on the team at some point. Maybe you didn't. I have no idea. But he was
No,
telling me
nope,
about exactly what happened with him in Korea, with him going off on his own escapades, which Aoi talked about in his blog. And I just remember talking to Charlie about it. And Charlie likes everybody. If you've never met Monolith before, manager of Dignitas, guy's the nicest guy in the world. Charlie is so freaking nice. He's an awesome person, and he was mad at Mark, and
You know what's
that's
funny
hard
is-
for
real
Charlie
quick,
to do.
I don't know. You probably didn't see last episode, but Frost went on like a 10-minute rant on how Charlie's like the unsung hero of Dota and how much he loves him and all that kind of stuff. So,
Like everyone loves Charlie.
kinda
How do
funny.
you not love
He's
Charlie?
him
Like,
and
how-
Samuel, to me, are the best managers on Dota, easily.
Like he is the great. Like he goes above and beyond when he manages people too. He
Yep.
he didn't even have to take care of Speed Gaming, but he did anyways because they're his friends and like he really likes them as people. So like Charlie's great. But anyways, enough about Charlie. So he comes on and we're
Yeah, fuck
casting an
Charlie.
L or something like that. Enough about Charlie. And he so he tells me about what Mark did over there in Korea, and then a little bit later, I just thought the guy was like a little bit out to lunch. I'm just like, all right, that's fine, okay, that's whatever, it happens. And then, he does all this shit at Columbus, and I'm there with, I'm talking with Charlie a decent amount at Columbus. I'm talking with Aaron Lott, who was kept up to date about the entire situation. Like, they told Spit about everything that happened, and, we heard about the shit he did. It was posted on any Dota, and people were just like, are you serious, man? Like, how do you do that? And I don't know what this guy thought was going to happen. And the fact that also... By the way, he runs Nintendo TV, and he got a caster named Banter to cast for Nintendo TV, who is, by the way, the epitome of, cancer in the casting community. Literally the fucking piece of shit caster who casted for, who gave the NEL a $1,000 prize pool, and then when people were like, yeah, this guy's fucking dumb as shit, we need to get him out of here, they finally kicked him out. He's casting for Nintendo right now, which is supposed to be a legitimate tournament that's running with legitimate, legitimate teams having top tier talent, and they've got this fucking guy who's drinking vodka, who's smoking weed on camera. How are you doing that? Why would you hire someone like that? And I don't understand, and I'm being very passionate about this because that guy's a fucking dumbass. All right, I'm sorry getting really into it here.
no, Keep going.
vessel, man.
Yo,
Like,
keep going.
I mean,
Shitty
but
stuff.
like, the guy is just. How? How do you do that as a person? How do you make these decisions like that? You're gonna fucking number one, you're going to physically verbally threaten your players. Number two, you're going to lie to your players. Number three, you're going to threaten your players that you're going to get them pulled out of tournaments or that tournaments are threatening to pull them out. Number four, that you're saying that you're not a manager of the team when that's clearly in your job title that you are the manager of the team. You know, I just don't understand what he was thinking. If he's got something wrong in the head, and listen, the guy he should not belong in esports, and it's hard to say. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This guy is probably the worst person in esports, which is saying a lot because we've got a lot of shitty people in esports, like a lot of shitty people. And for me to say that it's saying something. I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong. You know, I like
No, you're not. You're not
for every
wrong.
story, but
You're right in the money.
that's it. That's it. That's my passion gone. I've exuded it.
You shot your passion.
I did. Passion has been shot. I'm gonna relax now.
I've had a lot of shitty experiences in esports because I played for like 4 years combined professionally in Han and Dota 2, something like that.
Yeah.
And I've met a lot of shady individuals and real people that are just like fucked up. And he definitely is the most of the fucked up. And it's really nice to like be able to sit here on the side, not having to deal with people like that anymore, just have a good laugh about it. That's all I can do. As I was reading out his blog, I felt really bad for the players that they had to go through that experience with Marco. But I was just laughing the entire
You're just
time
like,
on the
I can't. This
ridiculousness,
guy did
like-
this shit.
Oh
What's
man,
happening?
Yeah.
No, I know.
It's bad. It's like you said. I don't know if esports attracts shitty people or if it's just the fact that there's young
you saw an
people they can take advantage of it.
opportunity
That's
to
it.
exploit
Yeah.
them. Yeah,
Okay.
Yes,
it's the
that's it.
young, inexperienced, like, God, I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
looking at my first contract, and I had no idea what the fuck about anything, and
Has that changed since then, or is it
abuse
still...
it? Yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah, no.
Okay. All right.
Negotiating skills are definitely better. I can read through a contract and call bullshit on certain parts. You know, not gonna get into the specifics of anything because that's just like a big no-no. But when you're new, you can get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Or you're not used to contracts and such. Thankfully, though, EG is a great organization, so I didn't have really problems in Dota 2.
Yeah, that's something me, Mania, and David are trying to work out. David's our attorney that helps all our players and stuff because we had a big issue. I'm not going to say the player, but on that second roster, we had a big issue with one of the players in the other organization, you know, asking for a 10K buyout and, you know, in his contract. I mean, man, life is hard. So, you know, even some of the better players right now in Europe struggle with that same shit that Bdiz was talking about. Now, he was fortunate to have landed with one of the better organizations in esports, period. But there are not very many. As a matter of fact, both sets of players had separate issues with their organization and contracts. And I think that's something that I'm surprised that there hasn't been an organization try to help develop these players and try to help teach these players about even simple stuff like
players need agents, man.
Yeah.
The whole idea
Yeah.
of
I think you're right.
union,
True.
that's not going to happen. I don't see it happening. But
Yeah.
agents, I can see happening.
Well,
And
so what we've
Getting-
done is,
Agents.
I'm sorry, Robert.
yeah, no, I'm done. It's all you.
No, I was just saying. So what our attorney and Mania are trying to do is set up a like a little seminar that is going to be streamed where our attorney goes over stuff to look at in contract. Because can you believe that one of the players, and I'm not going to say who, but one of the three had in their contract if they misrepresented the brand in any way, which is as vague as it can get. You know that they were liable for up to $10,000, which is more than the length of their contract, which is more money than they would have made throughout the length of their contract.
Yep.
Are we talking about the?
No, I can believe
speed
that.
track?
I've seen similar things.
I'm sorry,
I was
Travis?
wondering, is that in the speed contract? Is that the one you're talking about?
No. That's
okay.
one of
Sorry.
the old flip side players.
Okay.
I was
sorry.
like, whoa, because it was that penalty was more than the amount of money they would have made for the life of the contract. That to me was some absurd shit. And I was like, you signed that? But the thing is, they're just uninformed. And the thing is, this is how these organizations beat these players over the head with it. And what people don't realize is the sponsorship money. You're talking tons. Like I can tell you from experience, AL, they got at least 5 figures monthly from one of their sponsors. That's one of the very many. The players were getting less than 300 USD per player per month. If you do the math, some of these organizations are just beating players over the head, and people don't realize it, and they don't know it. And it's very unfortunate that this happens, but it is what it is.
At the same time, there are a lot of overhead costs.
Absolutely, like travel. Yeah, of course.
Travel's a big one.
It costs us $5K to send the players to EMS, and they've placed 6th. Costs us $5K. That shit's not easy. So
EMS Summer?
Yes, where you guys
Yep.
where you guys smashed us. F you, bro. F you, bro. No.
So Bdiz cost you $5K.
It's only for competition.
Essentially,
they tried hard. You guys tried
down.
hard. So I obviously don't have any resentment. I mean, it is what it is, right? Like that's the risk you take when you sign a team. You hope that they perform the best. Obviously, they didn't have the results that everybody would have liked, but that's the nature of the business. It's just unfortunate how some of these teams abuse their players with small things like that. And I think it's good that Robert was here to highlight it because it's the truth, man. Like some of these guys get, I mean, some nasty shit happens. I'm glad though that Speed Gaming had MLG, which is a very big organization, to help support them throughout the process. And like Travis said, Charlie came in the clutch. Some teams have horror stories, but they didn't have people like that in their corner. So Speed Gaming definitely needs to be thankful that the stars aligned for them. And then they ended up, with the Cinderella story at the end. So that was some pretty cool shit. So
yeah.
So okay, so is it just
they played out of their minds?
Yeah,
man.
But real quick, as contracts, is it just the fact that these players come from in a position where they don't really have any money and they're playing Dota and doing all this stuff and they're having fun, and then all of a sudden they see money and they're just like, shit, I'll sign whatever you want me to sign because I could get money playing this game? Is it that
they just want to be pro?
Really?
That's it.
And and another thing is like, it's the first time you're looking at a contract, and it's kind of like agreeing to the terms and conditions when you install a program. It's like you don't really read the 5 lines, right?
Right.
And you don't realize, and then all of a sudden it's biting you in the ass.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. And it's the same way with people who are casters as well. It's the same with anybody who's new into esports. With any contract that you're going to get, you're going to like it, like he said, and in terms of conditions for any game or whatever you have to sign up for. You just scroll through it. You just quickly scroll through. Okay, great, accept, done. That's it. And that's going to be what it is for a lot of people who are new, who are young especially. There are people out there who are like, listen, this may be my first contract, but I have been around enough shady places to know that I need to read through this. Maybe they get a lawyer to read through it as well. Hopefully people do that, but that's not always the option.
Little unrealistic to expect a lawyer to read through a contract, right? Especially for these players that don't really necessarily
because it costs more money
to afford one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What's more likely is just like have a friend that used to play. Be like, hey, can you check this out for me? And hopefully you get some help in that regard.
But that's also why we're trying to set up that thing for players. Because our attorney works for Flipside, right? So,
okay, so
he's the one that writes up all our contracts and all that stuff. We need more people like David, and this is a good way to highlight people like him to get into esports. Because the thing is, so especially if you're getting paid like the 200 or 300 USD a month, which is actually pretty fucking shitty. But let's just say that that's what you get paid. Even trying to hire David, well, his rate is $130 an hour. So if you have a 10-page contract, he could just be like, it's going to take him, X amount of hours like a lot of lawyers do. It's actually going to cost you a month's wages to do that. So players obviously avoid that pitfall. What we need is some place where they can go to have all this information on how to do it themselves. Because they're not in a position to financially support the hiring of an attorney by themselves, unless their parents have a company or an attorney that is a friend or family member or whatever. Because it's pretty amazing how some of these organizations get away with some of the shit that they do. And I've been keen on this for the last, I don't know, like 8 months since we started having our own players, because some of the shit that we've had to deal with or some of the stories we've heard from some of the players, holy moly. And fans don't know any of this. And some of them blindly support these organizations. Yeah, you know, insert team name here. You don't fucking realize that some of the players hate the teams that they play for. The thing is, they just make the most money there. That's the unfortunate part. Is now EG has gotten the reputation of being a good organization, and they just so happen to be the most popular. But Bdiz can tell you that there are very there are a lot of European big organizations that are not the best to play for, yet they garner the most fan support. So it's kind of this interesting dilemma that some of the players have. The sponsors are only attracted to wins. The wins are basically.
Well, I wouldn't say that they're only attracted to wins. They're also.
Well, but you know what I mean, though.
How well you market your players.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Winning is part of how well you can market your players, of course.
Yeah. Well,
but
I mean,
marketing's a big one.
Yeah, I was just talking about sponsors payouts to organizations. That's what I meant. It's it's about the marketability of the players you have on contract, and also how many viewers you bring whenever people watch your teams play and all that other stuff. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. But some of the more popular teams outside of EG are not also the most favorable to their players. And it's amazing that a lot of fans don't know this. But the thing is, they can't, because if the players say anything incorrectly in the public's eye, you could get penalized for way more than your contract's worth. And I thought that was, and it's legally binding because there was a signature attached to it. So, and that's an interesting thing. Where
you don't want to say anything after your contract's over, because it's kind of like an unspoken rule that you just keep that shit under wraps.
Course. No, absolutely.
Yeah. Which is where Loda's statement a while ago comes in of, hey, let's get some things out in the open and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It sucks. Yeah. It's sad, but I think it's growing pains. I think we're going to get to a point where, you're right, agents are going to step in, and they're going to start handling that kind of stuff. And,
and hopefully they're not douchebags also ripping off the players.
Yeah. There's going to be a foot switch that are going to be assholes. You know what's going to happen. There's going to be a legion that just fucking
absolutely
over. It's going to be so goddamn frustrating, but it's going to happen. It happens with everybody and everyone that's new in esports, or in any new scene for that matter. Any new business, whatever you want to call it, whatever. We'll learn that and move on.
Yep.
Well, yeah, it sucks. It's sad. But, yeah, you're right. Agents do get in shitty positions, too. Like, you look at something like... Sorry, we're talking about sports. So, baseball, you got someone like Scott Boras, who's known for getting his players huge contracts. So, where do you fall on that? It's good the players got the money, but then it also kind of sucks that he's kind of positioning these teams to give those players that much money.
I think the players should get what they're worth. I think one of the most amazing things...
Shitty. How about Kobe's contract?
Determine how much they're worth, though.
Yeah. So you got Kobe signed that contract last week. Essentially, that contract was great for him, right? He makes a shitload of money, but the Lakers are not going to be competitive now for a couple years.
True.
They don't have any money, and
but he's an idiot for that.
He's not an idiot. He's making like $250 mil or something.
You're right. He's
making like $40 million a year.
He's not an idiot,
but with his endorsements.
If his intention is to win championships, he's an idiot. His intention is not to win championships. As a matter of fact, all he did was cripple his chances of doing so, because Kobe knows he's not worth that, despite what the analytics say. So apparently, well, not apparently, he is. As of last year, before he got hurt, he was the third most efficient scorer in the league. However, everybody who watches basketball and knows about basketball knows he doesn't play like a defense anymore, right? So
who needs defense? Come on, old man. You don't need defense. The point I'm trying to make
is that what determines, like Robert asked, or at least how I evaluate talent is simple, right? So one of the agreements we have with Mania and Miguel, which I can speak of because obviously Flipside's ours, and all the other stuff was that depending on their success, we would give them the sponsorship money up until they reached a certain cap on salary.
Yeah,
That's the arrangement we have with them.
Contract. Yeah, that's not anything
Right?
either.
Oh no, yeah. So like that's what we had. So we started them at a pretty low base salary, obviously, because we knew we had DreamHack coming, then we had EMS, and that was just after they didn't qualify for TI3,
yeah.
right? So like that was the base. Depending on their success, right? Any flip side sponsors. So we already had sponsors. Now the sponsors were there. That helped finance the both the lands, of course. But moving forward, had they, or even with this new roster, right? Had they stayed with Flipside and not gone to Sigma, depending on their success, the moment they signed a contract, say we got Steel Series, for example. This is just an example, guys. So we didn't get Steel Series, right? So say they gave us like 5K, right?
But just in case the Steel Series wants to give us 5K,
yeah, amongst the players. Amongst the players until they reached a certain base salary, which we all agreed with, right? For the betterment of the organization. Now, it just so happened that I have a personal relationship with some of the players, so it was easy for me to make a move like that. And it just so happened that we were also in a financial situation to still be able to afford the lands and do some other stuff. Now, what would have happened is, say after a certain while we got close to EG money, all that money trickles down now. So it goes into staff. It goes into higher production on shows like this, right? More production, or what I wanted to do eventually was have people like Maut, right? So have casters for Flipside. The thing is, you got to pay these guys. Yeah. You can't do shit like that until you start making money. The thing is, like it's all in stages. The first thing that you have to worry about are the players. The players are the lifeblood of esports, period. So I don't give a fuck what people say. As successful as first pick may end up being one day, it doesn't matter. The truth is, if you don't have a fucking team, people don't give a shit who you are. I.e. what's going on with Flipside now, right? Like, we've gone by the wayside. Why? Because we lost a pretty good roster. Now, is it the players' fault? No, the players got a really good deal, and it was one we couldn't compete with. So they had to go. It's just the nature of the business. Some teams, however, don't share that same philosophy. Some teams really don't have those incentives for players to stay within an organization, right? Because all these roster shuffles, a lot of them too are because the players aren't really happy with their organizations as well. That's why it's easy for them to just be like, yo, peace, I'm out. Because if some of these organizations had good management, like I'll give you an example. One of the players hadn't talked to his management in over a year. Like legitimately hadn't talked to either the owner or somebody high up outside of the manager in over a year. That is some of the craziest shit. I mean, I don't know how you run a business that way. These are your players. These are your employees. You don't have a pulse, right, of the culture within your team or of your organization. That's what's happening in esports. Me personally, I feel like the players obviously have to be taken care of first. I think production. Each team should have their own production. I think it's sort of weird how some of these teams, like I'll give you an example, right? So if Dendy and Puppy were Flipside players, how have they not come out with guides? And how have they not come out with shows like this? Look how Robert's doing.
Because they're too busy winning tournaments.
Yeah, they're
okay.
Absolutely.
The difference between playing and not playing, when you're playing, you've got your practice schedule for minimum we would schedule for 6 hours on a day where we had other things going on, like match and stuff. We would say, hey, we're gonna play at 12 Eastern until 6 p.m. That's the bare minimum, and that's for a West Coast team from America. For European teams, they can play from 14 CET, 2 p.m. their time, all the way until midnight, non-stop.
It's a long ass time.
The Chinese teams, they play 12 hours a day at times, when they're prepping for big tournaments, normally 8 to 10. But big tournaments come around, 12 hours a day. With all the matches that were going on, you play weird hours, you play all the time. You just don't have the energy to put 100% or the focus, mental fortitude, whatever.
Sure.
Put 100% of your focus into a guide, into coming onto a show like this. So you just don't. You don't commit to it because you can't do it. You look at whatever Talk Dota, I think it was, or whatever Toby was doing with Cinderin and Puppy. I let that out. Those players are too busy to do that on a regular basis. They're focusing on trying to be the best team, best individual players that they can be. And you can't do that and have all these other distractions on the side. So I know it's nice and from an owner's perspective or from a management perspective of a team, you want to get a little bit extra out of your players, but they're not going to perform as well as they possibly can if you have them doing all this other stuff.
That I agree with.
Bdiz
But my counter to that is some of our players had full-time jobs, practiced, and coached.
Yeah, but
Coached. Because we have a coaching network, right? So they coached with players. People have the time. It's just some of the teams can't do it because some of them have real-life jobs. But there are other teams I'm talking about that don't work like everyone else on a day-to-day. And I think those are the players that do have the time. And the reason I say that is because, with all due respect to the Dota League of Legends argument, part of my inspiration for that is seeing League of Legends and how that happens.
But then
like
it happens
a little bit,
shit.
for example.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it can happen. I'm not saying that it has to be every day or any of that stuff, but I guess what I'm trying to elaborate on is some of our players make like our first roster, 3 of the 5 had full-time jobs. And then 2 of the 5 also had school. And they did that and were still coaching.
Life's hard.
Like, I'm not trying to say that they're better than any of you. All I'm saying is that, you know, if you, yes, but then again, I know what you're going to say.
Did your team get international? Like, that, I'm not trying to insult your players.
No, you're right, you're right.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who else was on the team.
It was Rise, Miracle,
and... Oh my god,
Unicorn.
Like, they're all individually stellar players and have accomplished a lot in Dota. I know Miracle's at TI2 with CLG. Mania is a goddamn legend, as is Megal in my mind. They're fantastic players, but as a team, they didn't have enough time because of all their obligations to really commit and show off their potential. It's just
I agree with you.
What's there?
Yeah. Well, but I think part of that was it was our fault. Well, it was both AL's and our fault. The truth is, when you have a roster like that, if you were in a financial position to get them to not be hindered by, you know, these real life obligations, right? Because it's an uneven playing field. Like, they were playing against you guys. I don't think you guys played them at DreamHack. No, I think you did. I think you played them at DreamHack and at EMS. Yeah. Like, right? But you guys were at a team house. Well, they didn't have a team house. They worked, had school. I don't think some of you guys had those same obligations. But yet they're competing against you. So you see how unfair it is.
It gets you in a weird slope, though. You look at something like high school sports or like college sports. Like, oh, this guy has a hitting coach, therefore he's a better hitter. Like,
but the truth is,
there's too many variables into that kind of thing to like all across the board. Like, it's until we get to a point where there is like the official Major League Dota League, to where we got 12 Dota teams from 12 different, cities across the country, and all 12 of those people only play Dota full time. They get a monthly check from whoever is running it. We're not going to have a leveling playing field, so there's going to always be those variables that kind of depend on everything.
No, well, and you're right, and that's. I don't want to say it's a part of the problem because.
I don't think it's a problem.
You have teams like Speed Gaming coming. Well, but the thing is, you have Speed like Team, and you have a team like Fire or Complexity, and then now Team Liquid. There are teams that persevered through that adversity. All I was trying to say was that if the organization is well endowed enough to put the players at ease with their financial positions at home, players could have an easier time to then do stuff for the community or do stuff for like just overall, right? Like do shows like this and like other cool stuff that isn't going to be plaguing on their time. Like especially guides, right? Like you have organizations that have writers. The writers could write up the guides. All the players really have to do is just tell them, hey, look, put this, this, and this, right? Cut and edit this, and this out. Look at my replays, do all that stuff. Like these are ideas we've had. There are ways to adjust that stuff so it's not so taxing on the time applied to the players. It's just that some of these organizations don't have the financial capability to put their players at ease, and the ones that do, except for EG, because EG does a lot of shit. Even for League of Legends and StarCraft, that
no, EG does it right. They get the players to play well, and then also do a lot of stuff outside of that and kind of promote it.
We need more like that.
Let's drive the shit back before we get too far.
Yes. We're going to the right this time.
We're going crazy today. This is like tangent land.
We're all about the tangents.
I don't know.
Well, me me and Frost
Game's
have very
hard.
different points of view. So
No, I know it's a
kinda
good
butt heads a little
discussion,
bit.
and I'm glad you guys are having it.
No, I
because
don't think
it's fun
it's
to watch.
You just have a unique perspective.
No, I think-
and
yeah.
I love it. I like it. I mean, you know what you're
it's a
talking
different
about.
perspective. Bdiz has seen it from a very particular side that most people haven't. So I'm
For a
glad
long time,
Bdiz
too.
is here today, or else we wouldn't have these good tangents. But let's slowly bring it back to the whole speed gaming Marco thing. Maut had a good discussion on kind of the problems with Marco and why this has kind of sprouted out of control. And the one shitty thing, at least for me looking on the outside coming in, is that when speed gaming was announced, I had at least 3 people say, hey, this Marco thing, this Natolik thing is a red flag.
Samo was the biggest one.
Yeah, and he said, like, in particular, that, hey, this guy's shady. Watch out for him. And
Yeah.
I trust him. He makes usually pretty good judgment calls. He's a good guy. But even, like, on top of him, a couple other people said, yeah, something's not quite right. This kind of smells fishy. Something's up. And so when this happens, it sucks for the players because they get put in a shitty position. But it also sucks at the fact that some other people thought him as a shady person, 3 months ago. But then the players, are in bed with him because they kind of probably don't have many other choices. It sounded
They
like
have to. They're desperate, and it's not in
the
the
money's
negative
there, you can
connotation.
play,
It's just
it's just
yeah, they want to be successful. This guy has money. He's bringing the organizational background. He's going to do all that management stuff that they need. They just can focus on playing. He turned out to be a fucking asshole, and then they never get to talk to the owner of the original guy that is financing the whole thing, which is amazing to me because how he swindled that sort of deal was hilarious. I'm just glad that people like him don't succeed because of obvious reasons.
It
But
just
I don't blame the
sucks.
players. Like, they had to.
No, the players at the end of the day, the players are focused on playing. That's why they're players. If they wanted to do other stuff, they do other stuff. But they want to play the game. They want to compete. They want to try to win and lose, go to LAN, stuff like that. So they have to take money and all that kind of stuff from people who are in a management position or in an owner position. And it just sucks for the players because at the end of the day, they're the ones who get the short end of the stick and get taken advantage of. But I think luckily for Speed, they're going to come out okay on this. Luckily, a lot of this stuff's been pretty public.
Yeah.
I found it particularly interesting that he posted that blog right about that they're going to play the biggest game of their lives. Like,
Yeah.
against
that was-
DK, the biggest game of their lives, and he puts that shit out there as if to, like, I don't know why he would do that. Why, like,
Well, I think he
I don't know.
realized the house of cards was falling, and I think what he tried to do was
save his own ass?
beat it to the punch, right? So he's trying to spin damage control while people are distracted. It just ended up
He's,
happening that, like,
tried to save his
Gabe Newell
own
said something
ass.
that I thought
Fuck
was
5
the
other
funniest thing I've ever heard. He said, you can't bullshit Reddit. And it's funny, the people that first found out, like, whoa, hold up. What is going on? Was Reddit. They were the first ones to be like, whoa, time out. Hold on, what the fuck just happened? Like, what is he saying?
You can
Reddit's a weird
bullshit
place.
Reddit to a certain extent. I don't know if
Reddit's
you
weird.
can, you
Let's
can't
talk
like
about
you can't
Reddit.
lie to Reddit, but you can certainly spin something to your own advantage on Reddit. So you can sort of game Reddit to a certain extent. You can. I agree with you though. You can't really bullshit Reddit if they're like witch hunting. If they're actively witch hunting, they're going to get to the bottom of whatever they want to get to the bottom of. They will fucking mine for the truth until they've got it, and they did. They really did. And it also was not just necessarily Reddit. It was, when we saw that thread, which was first posted on his speed gaming thing, and then it was posted on Anecdote, people were like, yeah, this guy's a piece of shit. He's definitely lying. Like, and even people that had no idea about the drama knew he was lying because you could just tell from the article that he wrote that he was a bullshitter. And the fact is that it boggles my mind how someone could be so ignorant and so arrogant about who he is and who he thinks he is in the community, and then proceed to get his ass so thoroughly handed to him.
He did get his ass
Just
handed
got fucking wrecked.
And the
man.
best
He
part
deserved
was
it,
went
too.
over like 4 days. It wasn't even that long. It was just like
No.
Sunday the news story came out. Everyone was like, what's going on? And the week before, he republished their contracts or whatever on Facebook. And so a week before, people were like, "Oh, Speed Gaming, they're real up front. Those are real good people." And then from like Sunday to Wednesday, the dude just got his ass kicked.
So upfront, as if he actually asked any of the players if he could throw up the contract.
Exactly.
I'm a fucking
But the good
dumbass.
thing was Speed Gaming, like I said, had those
Bad.
friends, and Charlie and MLG. However,
Yes.
so we have a Russian roster, and they got screwed out of the national tournament.
That was the next news topic. You're jumping ahead, bro. Come on.
They were in. Oh, I'm sorry.
Keep going here.
But yet they don't have the.
We're just gonna roll through the news.
But they don't have the support because there's really nothing Flipside can do. And if we had the money, we would have given it to the players just off rip, just to be like, look, I'm sorry, we'll fight the battle. But the problem is there's nowhere to go, right? Because Valve already said they're not hands-on this thing, and they're not going to be the, the internet police for this sort of shit. Yeah, so it's tough. Like that's why I said Speed Gaming really has to be grateful that it was perfect for them to succeed because they had the MLG, which is a huge function. That's also a big organization. They had Adam, they had Charlie fight for them, and it was like, wow, like that guy got tore to shreds. But unfortunately, this douchebag in Russia, he got away scotch clean, and all the teams got screwed on behalf of all the quote unquote ticket sales and all that stuff. So it's esports, tough game, guys. It's just not easy.
It really is. It really is.
It's no bueno.
Oh my god. Hector, I'm done,
shit.
man. I'm done.
I'm sorry, bro.
He's been saving that one.
Person in the community, in esports, to have made that joke, by the way. I'm not even kidding, which surprises me. That's been like for months now.
You were dreading the day?
I was dreading it. It really was. Did you know your last name means good in Spanish? Wow, thank you for telling me that. Clearly never knew that. No one ever told me that in my entire life.
Wait, really? It does?
Yeah, bueno means good in
I'm
Spanish.
just kidding.
You're such your fucking... just don't even listen to Bdiz, because he's trolling you 95% of the time. Listen, I'm a veteran of the Bdiz troll.
You know what's funny, though, is Bdiz, that is the second person now in 2 weeks that has called you a troll. So, I see your reputation precedes you.
I mean, he is a troll. Have you met the guy? Come on.
I've never met the guy. No, I haven't. So,
well,
this is the first time.
Condolences.
It's a pleasure to meet the troll himself. But I don't know. I'm at a loss. Scumbag Central this week. It's sad.
it really is.
I don't know. Speed Gaming, I think they'll be okay. They're going to come out on top. They have good players. Community likes them. They'll just cut Marker out of the loop.
And they said some positive things on Live on 3 about Weir and sticking with Speed Gaming, at least for the remainder of their current contract and going to G League. They might shop around other sponsors after that and try to get away from the whole mess, but gotta wait and see for that.
Well, the interesting thing is that guy, it's funny, right? Because, so he avoided the landmine where, now, I don't know anything about him. I'm not trying to create any drama. All I'm saying is, if you look at it from the outsider's perspective, he has no other option but to give them the raise that Marco promised them because they literally just won MLG. You're going to say no to a team that just smashed everyone else? They beat DK, who is arguably the best team in the world at the moment. I mean, they at least have the most individual talent, right? Like, I mean,
I would not say they're the best in the world.
I'd say they're top 5.
Top 5. Top 5.
Okay,
yeah.
Sure. That's why I said arguably. But,
okay,
I mean, I agree. But they're a good collection of talent, right? And they just beat them. And they beat them, in my opinion, convincingly. So, like, he has to adhere to all those agreements, and they're definitely, luckily, now in the driver's seat. And I think that is what comes out of all of this was because of the run they had, they're in the driver's seat, and I can't be any more excited for them. And I'm glad Charlie's going to be helping them full time. Like, I think their issues are over. They cemented themselves in the Dota 2 scene. So luckily for them, they'll no longer have to deal with some of this bullshit, hopefully.
The most impressive thing for me is how they triumphed through adversity. It's not just from just MLG. Not just MLG. It's since they joined Speed. They've been dealing with this Marco character. That's the only way that I can describe him as a character.
Marco character.
He definitely is one.
He's a weirdo.
They've been dealing with him, and they've still been successful.
Yeah.
They barely missed out on the ESWC. They lost to EG in that qualifier.
But who watched ESWC? Come on.
Yeah, no one.
No one watched that shit.
The Speed versus EG game
on
Daily
Maut, by yourself?
And then I felt dirty and I have to wash myself off after using Daily Motion because, let's be honest, why?
It's a weird place.
ESWC has just lost its...
Yeah.
It's just lost it. It had it at one point, but not anymore.
No, definitely not.
Lost its luster. That's what I was looking for. Anyway, but at next time they went 3-1. They dropped one game to Dignitas. 3-1 is still good. at their first LAN as a team, and for most of their individuals as well. I know EE won DreamHack winner, of course, in 2012. Yeah.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, he beat the crap out of me. Then Bone 7 was at DreamHack Summer, standing in for Mouse, but I don't think Pili Dai had ever been to a LAN.
No, and Pili Dai played out of his mind.
Yeah, he
had an exceptional tournament. He was the best player in that series.
I always
was close.
LANs, but their first LAN as a team that went 3-1. And in all these online tournaments, they've been really strong.
Yeah.
While dealing with Marco. And that's just absolutely amazing. That's such a massive distraction that you have to deal with. And they still were just like, yeah, we don't care. We're that focused. And then, of course, MLG with a stand-in, no less. Granted, Arteezy is the A god or something. But still just coming out and winning that. That was just... What a
we can talk about the game soon?
It's a good story.
I have a
Yeah, we can talk
Let me tell you about Arteezy. Okay. So, I met Arteezy at MLG Columbus, and I'm a big fan. I'm admittedly a big fan of Artur Beta.
Wait, real quick. Did you have to change your pants afterwards?
I did, actually. It was glorious. I couldn't hold myself in. It was great. No, but as you call Marty Baba, I met him, and that was right after the Speed versus DK game that got them into the playoffs. And I talked to him, and I'm just like, so how are you feeling? He's like, man, it's such a rough game. It's so hard. I'm like, you're a big deal now. He's like, yeah, you know. I'm just like, and then he proceeds to say the most funny thing, albeit unintentional thing in the world. He's just like, man, dude, my shoulders hurt really bad. I'm just like, you can't say that. You can't say that. You cannot get away with saying that. He's like, no, I didn't mean it that way. But it was just so funny how he said it, especially after that game. But realistically...
Well, he was playing OD, but... You know, it's not like he had the hardest lane of his life.
He was against Burning in that game.
Yeah, he's against B-God, man.
But he's still playing OD. Like, I think the good thing about that series was it highlighted Aoi. Like, even though Aoi had admittedly a rough game on Chen, like, he didn't really do much with his creep. I still think that him and Pili Dai, especially Pi, oh man, they were so good. Like, I feel like the smartest transition they made was obviously switching the roles around and having Arteezy feel more comfortable. But I definitely think that Pili Dai the supports did so much, and it sucks because LAN-M had an incredible series. So I don't want to be like the supports did so much more on speed, but the truth is the supports did so much more on speed. You know, and then Envy had a good series. So. I think Arteezy played great, but I think that
it's not just like a couple individuals. It's their whole team. Sing transitioned to the offline role. He admittedly said, "I'm not comfortable doing this," and he was able to play a majority of Clockwork and Potom. Especially here, that he has been ripping it up on. Yeah, and he was phenomenal the entire time. It was almost like Bone 7 was still there.
Yeah, in fairness to him though, he's more flexible than Envy. Envy had a harder time in the offlane. Sing's just a naturally talented player, so I thought it was really smart to just let Envy carry. But like I said, I mean, it goes back to what you were saying, actually. Look at the amount of obstacles they had to overcome. They had to switch roles from series to series. They were experimenting. They dealt with the Marco shit. So it was, to me, the most ultimate Cinderella story I've seen, at least in esports.
And it was electric to be there. It was the last day, and I know Aoi went on live on 3, and he's like, oh, there's more DK Chinese fans. Listen, I'm going to set the record straight, and I told him that on Skype. I'm like, no, there really weren't. You were at the LAN, and you could tell that there were people that were cheering for, you know, Navi, obviously a lot of Navi fans, which is, you know, whatever, that's fine. That happens at every
standard,
LAN. Standard, exactly, standard. But then you get to there were a significant, like, Chinese audience there. There were a lot. They came over in force, and they were cheering. There's one section up front to the right that
Did they really come in force?
I'm serious.
Like,
they did.
And people actually fly from China to go to an MLG?
They must have, because I saw people speaking Chinese.
Pretty big Asian population in America.
It's got a huge
Columbus?
I'm not even kidding. I swear.
Does
to God,
anybody
there were a
live
lot
in
of
Columbus?
fans.
Ohio's not too far from like
free-
Pennsylvania and like New York. It's a drive, but you can.
You
it's-
underestimate how rabid those fans are in China. Like, you're talking about the most
Yes.
all-star team you can think of in a Chinese environment coming to American soil to contribute in a land. It's like it's as if, you know, a big sports team went over to another country and they came out in full force. And I don't know. There's a whole lot of variables that go into it, but
Like the
DK
Steelers
had
going
so many
to
fans.
London.
And they were loud. They were very loud. Anytime they got something done, even getting a tower kill, DK fans were loud. And you could hear it on stream too, probably. But there were a lot of Speed Gaming fans, or at least a lot of people that wanted the Cinderella story to come true. And I know Kurt thought, you know, maybe they should have been louder or whatever. There weren't that many, like, USA chants. Well, none of them are American, obviously. But still, they had a lot of fans. It was electric. I remember the first game, I think it was, or no, it was the second game maybe, where Arteezy was playing the Timbersaw, and you get that triple lane top or triple kill top with that try versus try. That would, like, everyone went crazy. I stood up, I was cheering. That was the most, like, that was so exciting because that was when you knew, like, okay, Speed, they're fine, they're totally okay. Even with that loss in the 85-minute game, they're solid, they're rock solid. So it was good.
Yeah. Really fun series. I was very surprised by the series, I have to say. I was very surprised in DK, but we'll speak about that.
You guys are just throwing my plan off. Come on. Come on now. You're supposed to
Step your game up,
Okay,
Finch.
I'm supposed to drive this boat, and you guys are supposed to sit in the back and shut the fuck up and just kind of talk, you know? Instead, we're taking tangents left, taking tangents right.
I forgot you were here.
I know, man. This is sad. It's a sad day. Let's not talk about news anymore. Let's just talk about Speed Gaming since we're already talking about that. The last news that was on the list was VP loses NS and blow your brain. Does anybody want to talk on that? It's sad that NS is retiring, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's another player that he doesn't get his due.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And Blow has been phenomenal since like just after TI2, but now he's kind of like out in the wind, nowhere to go.
I don't know, so you'll probably know more than me, of course, on this, Robert. Is it his attitude? Is he like a sort of come with me-ish type?
I have no idea because he's Russian.
Yeah, me neither. Like I don't know, and you know, but
there has to be something.
I've played against him for a very long time, but I've never played with him.
Okay.
But he is definitely a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with VP.
Anyway,
VP's had a rough run.
Yeah, he's kind of could predict changes were coming to them because their performance has been less than stellar. You look at like last year's VP, they were a team that went to TI3. Now they're kind of like just bottom of the barrel in terms of competitive sponsor teams. And that's not where the organization wants to be. That's not where those players want to be. They have amazing players on that team.
No, not at all. And do you think, okay, so NS blow your brains out, if you think Illidan and JOTM come in, do you think that makes them a better team?
That's tough.
Illidan
I don't think so.
was with the team previously.
Now he's with Poseidon.
And his performance on LAN was, I think, the big deal. So I casted the TI3 prelims, and that featured a lot of VP games. And it was always, we're dominant. By far the best players on their team on LAN. And the other three, the newcomers to the team that were all just like KSI, Illidan, and I can't remember for the life of me who the last one was. They just didn't perform that well. From
Crazy?
Game to game.
Was Crazy the other one?
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
They were
for me.
okay, but they were a million times better online. They were just like regular Joes on LAN. And it wasn't just at TI3. It was also at DreamHack Summer, where they just did not perform well. So yeah, like I don't see Illing coming back to that team. Jodam, maybe.
Supposedly that's like the hot topic right now. Those are the two that are coming in.
Well, we're a little bit removed as we're in the NA scene. We know a lot about what's happening in NA.
Well,
I can
the
tell
person
you
who told me that is
the big teams, but
in the Russia scene.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I think Velat put it on his Twitter. So
yeah, but in light just knows his stuff. So
Vlad will know everything before it comes out if it pertains to Russia.
I'm pretty sure he put that on his Twitter this morning. He said Illidan and Jodam, JOTM, whatever you want to call him, is going into VP. So I don't know. Sad day for VP.
I hope they can rebuild.
Yeah, I hope
I
so
do
as well.
too, especially because I think this 6.79 favors a CIS region style of play. So, I mean, I'm hoping that I'm hoping Santa comes back. I'm hoping he pulls a mania and comes back.
Who? NS?
Oh man, Santa.
Yeah, and that's
So,
and Santa too.
Oh, I thought you said Santa.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
thought you
Santa
said
did.
Yeah.
Santa was playing for a bit, but now I guess he's going back to.
Yeah, but he
casting.
stopped. He
Yeah.
stopped though because he was coming. Oh, he played for our RU team for a little bit, and
Yeah.
then now he's taking a hiatus. So that's why
But he's back to
I said
streaming
that.
and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird stuff going on over there. So I don't know. Best of luck to them. But let's talk about speed gaming some more because we haven't done that enough today. Let's talk about MLG, kind of some of the games. So we'll jump over to game one. We'll get our fancy draft screen up. Thank you to Adrian for hooking up with those fancy draft screens. Game one. I don't know. I don't really know what was up with the speed gaming draft. It kind of seemed like it came out of left field. I mean, Bdiz, how did you feel about that Doom pick and the Kunkka pick and that kind of stuff?
Well, if you look at Singh's heroes, he played a lot of Clockwork and he played a lot of Potem.
Mhm.
And he's not a comfortable offlane player. However, Kunkka is a hero that he loves and he plays all the time. So, when you're on LAN and he's just doing a role he's not comfortable with, he's going to go back to wanting to be playing at least a hero he's comfortable playing. And Kunkka, that's fine. Kunkka has good synergy with OD. OD can just set everything up. Shackle shots, set it up for him. It's a fine pick. Doom is a hero that Envy loves, and they as a team enjoy playing. And I've got no problem with Doom as a pick either. He's a hero that can be a really good sack hero. Not necessarily offlane, but just go against the opposing team's strongest lane, not die, and come out with something. Whether it's experience or a little bit of farm, he's going to get something. And I think he's one of the stronger heroes that isn't picked enough in 6.79. OD, Arteezy made OD a thing again. Single-handedly, he brought that hero back, and
Yeah.
I hate him
yeah,
for that.
God.
Bastard.
Then Windrunner is kind of like the Rubik of this patch, almost, where he's a great greedy support because he's good at all phases of the game. He's good in lane, he's good in team fights, he's a good initiator. It's just a good support pick. And Pylai Die, as you saw, he was a monster with Shackle Shot the entire
Yeah, he was
event.
all over the place.
Yeah.
Lich is the one here that I think is overrated right now, but still good. Like, he's not terrible.
Why do you say
just
he's overrated?
okay. I think a lot of teams are valuing him too high because you
Yeah,
get
agreed.
experience off the eyes now. It's
Agreed.
still a
Yep.
good hero, though, in his own right. He's just only good at team fighting. And he's okay in lanes. CM is a much stronger laning support than Lich. Lich is an
Yeah.
okay laning support.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's an alright hero.
Lich also
Nice.
shines in close spaces, so like at Roshan or like if you're in the jungle someplace. But DK didn't pick fights there because they had the Pugna and they had a Clockwork. They were always pushing. So they never really were fighting in closed spaces outside of Roshan. So Lich loses his ultimate at least loses the strength if you're not in a closed space. So they were always fighting with creep and all that stuff. So it kind of made it a little bit difficult. But the Lich did get a lot of farm going into that game, though. I mean, if I remember correctly, I think he got an early Veil into something else. I think it was Atos. He was just getting farmed, and he didn't die,
'cause
and I
it was
thought that
Ally.
was
It
really
was Ally.
important. Yeah. So it was like he didn't die. He played very well.
It was an 85-minute game. He got a 4-staff first because Secret
Yeah.
Gaming loves 4-staffs.
The
Then
4-4 staff combo.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Like, I'm looking at his in-game items. He did have Veil. The Atos came last. I remember that. But he also had a Halberd.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which order it was for Veil and Halberd though. But I know for sure that 4-staff
Yeah.
was first.
Well, I think he got a Veil afterwards because I remember the Veil came pretty early and it was helping the
Combo
OD
with
out.
our
Like it was,
TC,
yeah. But I honestly thought Envy. I believe it or not, I thought that was his best game. I thought Envy's Doom, even though I remember he died a lot, but I remember he was playing phenomenally, and also his build, right? So he had like he had supporting items, right? Like he does what he always does. He gets a mech, he gets a Vlad, he gets the ice armor creep, and I think he got a pipe. Oh man, was he tanking up everything? He was tanking up everything. He was creating so much space for both the Kunkka and the OD, and I thought, like that comeback would have been sick. Oh yeah.
Early on, when they were at a huge gold deficit, just tanky Doom, let them throw everything, then force staff them 2 or 3 times out of danger. That was just phenomenal execution.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. Lan M had an amazing Earthshaker game too.
Oh god, he single-handedly brought them back when they should have lost.
Oh yeah, he was. That game was pretty incredible. Like that to me was one of the most fun games I've watched. I can't like. Obviously, the TI3 Finals, Game 5, was pretty good, but that was, like, up there. That was such an incredible game.
You want to know the crazy thing about that game is that, and you heard it, LD and guys were like, well, we might have an even longer game. Where they said some cheeky, like, thing during the cast, and everyone in the crowd is like, there's, like, a little bit of the crowd's just like, no, we want the game done. I'm like, are you fucking serious? You paid to be here to watch the game. You're going to complain about an 85-minute Dota game? Like, just enjoy it. Like, seriously. I don't
know that game was fun. That wasn't like the Miles game. That was a fun game.
That wasn't like the game at TI3 between, I think it was DK and someone else that was 90 minutes.
DK,
Yeah, I literally got up and walked around the venue during that because I couldn't sit in one spot for 90 minutes watching that game.
Yep.
And that was a game that Burning avoided the Ghost Scepter and kept dying to a Weaver that had 2 Divines, I think, right? Yeah, he had 2 Divines. It was pretty crazy. That game was ridiculous.
This game, though, had me glued to my screen watching it the entire time. So
it was exciting.
It was
Speed was like as aggressive as I've seen him.
That game could have gone either way the entire time.
So, absolutely.
Let's jump over to some clips. We have a couple of them, so we'll run through those. But I think you're right. Like the game was so long, and I think honestly this is the first game we've seen past 60 minutes since this patch. Right? Does anyone want to correct me on that?
Maybe. I'm not
one
really
of them,
sure.
if not the only one. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of them.
The game's been so fast lately, and it was fun to see these interesting picks. We don't see Doom all the time. We don't see Kunk all the time, but yet the game was still just super exciting. You talked about Lan M on Earthshaker. I was hoping Manny would be here this week. He'll be back next week, so we can kind of get his take on that. But I thought he played just absolutely phenomenal on the Earthshaker, and Earthshaker is just he's such a fun hero to watch, and the more we see him, the better. Maut, is there anything else in this game particularly that kind of
Lan M's block
got you excited?
I mean, honestly, the refreshers coming out, because that's just, it promotes more aggressive play. You kind of have to fight with refreshers. The fact that he went with a refresher orb on an Earthshaker, I felt was fantastic. Arteezy, he did the best that he could given the circumstances, but they could just not push. That was the problem, man. They could not push in, and they would have a lead, and they just couldn't do anything with it, which eventually means that Burning gets, 6 or even 8 or even 12 slotted on that bear and just starts to go to work. And then you have to play from behind all the time. Honestly, I would have thought that, with the amount of damage they were taking, with the amount of fighting they were doing, that they could have secured more farm for Sing Sing. He had, I think that was the problem. He didn't get that rapier up until way later in the game when it was already too late, and he did his best with it. He had a Chrysalis for the majority of the game. He didn't get his Daedalus for a long time either. So that was one thing they needed. They needed another damage source other than just, obviously, OD. And it was tough. And I think the part of the problem was, and I'll say it like this, the part of the problem was they couldn't control Anim, they couldn't push, and they only had OD as the real big, damaging source. So,
yes, I agree with what you're saying. To highlight what you're saying about the pushing, the problem is that team has no sieging potential, right? Outside of the overall tankiness of the Doom. The issue, though, is they also have 3 melees, and even though they had 3 range, OD is an upfront here. Like, OD is like the Tim Duncan on your team. He's always going to be your front line. He's always going to be in the front. So technically they have 3 melee heroes in a sense. And guess what? Earthshaker does what? Right? He blinks in when you cluster. They have to be close enough. And that's what Lan M kept doing. And he kept really doing a great job of making them pay for that. And they also had a clockwork, right? So the cogs delays the creep wave. It just... I think what Burning had was they just had a better defensive team, and unfortunately Speed didn't have a sieging lineup, but Speed did everything they could to avoid those pitfalls, and they were like a hair away of, like, that's what had me very impressed about that game. Coming out of that game, I was like, wow, because the way they played, I feel like they were, even in that game, they played better than DK.
Oh, absolutely.
DK won,
100%.
I think, because of overall Dota strategy. I think ultimately it comes down to you're leaving an Earthshaker an easy opportunity to initiate when you're trying to always apply pressure in Siege.
Right.
And the thing is, they had to apply pressure in Siege. So I think that was the only difference. The game could have gone either way, but I think coming out of the draft and the way the game played out, that was the inherent advantage DK had. They just got lucky enough to have the chips fall on the table the way that it was supposed to. But I think coming out of that game, I was like, wow. Like, Speed played incredibly well, and I thought Pali Dai was just outstanding in that series.
Speed also knew that they played that really well.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Like, that game, or their first game in the group stage against DK, DK experimented. It was a game that meant 0 for DK.
Mhm.
If they win, great, they're 8-0. They're still first seed. If they lose, great, they're still first seed. For Speed, they had a winning it in, and DK experimented with an Ursa pickup, which they haven't run from what I've seen of them in 6.79.
Nope.
Yeah.
So they experimented in a game, so Speed didn't know what to expect from DK going to that series.
Mhm.
Game 1, 85 minutes, you lose because of your own mistakes. All of a sudden, you've got this mentality of, hey,
We can win.
we can beat these guys, you know?
Oh, yeah.
We are in this. This is a real series that we can win. And that's got to be a good confidence booster going into games 2 and, of course,
Yeah.
game 3.
The only person that was really not super, I mean, like, the only person that knew, like, he was kind of frustrated, and they said this on Live on 3 in the interview, was that Ali was kind of a little bit, you know, not necessarily depressed, but he was kind of sad that they lost that game because they knew they could have won that game. But you saw Eternal Envy, and I saw him, you know, when they were going for their, you know, bathroom break or their break in between games, you saw him afterwards. Eternal Envy turns out, he's like, hey, man, we just took them 85 minutes, and we lost because of stupid reasons. We know that we can beat these people.
Yeah.
We know that we're better than them in certain regards. And they just came back, and they crushed game number 2, man. They wrecked them game 2.
The thing about Aoi, though, is remember, he played on Team Dignitas TI3, and remember the BKB incident. Like,
yeah.
He knows the value of when you have to win these games. And I think for him, it might have been disheartening. But the good thing was that the rest of them were like I don't blame Aoi for beginning to feel that way, especially because that is a game that they could have won and they probably deserved to win. But like I said, that's not a game I would have felt down and out about, because when I was watching it, I thought, holy shit, DK's in it. Like, they're going to have a really big issue. Like, they're in the shit now because Speed Gaming is hanging with them, and they're supposed to be, like, the favorites to win. Like, this, no.
Yeah.
I did not have a good feeling when, because I was rooting for DK, actually. I did not have a good feeling when that game ended. I remember, like, what? Well, Burning has always been my favorite player, so
Right. No, I'm just
I naturally,
time.
even though I know them.
Burning win a championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, well, see, like, so EE went to the RIT land. I know Envy personally. I'm glad he got the success, but he's just, well, Burning has always been my favorite player. Therefore, I needed to see him win one. I thought this was going to be it. It just so happened that Envy actually is the one that won, so I'm not really as mad, and Kurt. So, but I don't know, man. That was an incredible game, and that, to me, outside of TI3, the finals, I think that's been the best game of the year. Like,
Game 1.
that game was sick, man. Oh yeah, that game from start to finish was fucking outrageous.
I must say, I as much as it hurts my heart and my brain to bring this up, you're a better man than I to not bring up the bet we had after last episode.
Oh, good.
Do you remember what that was?
It was something about Speed Gaming not making top 3.
Top 6. Speed Game was not
Oh.
making top 6.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't have made
Did you
that.
say
bet.
that you say that?
Well, but it was
Yeah.
because of the Bone
Top
7
six.
thing. It freaked them
It was
out.
bad. And if Mania was here, he'd be on my side. So I guess I got that in my
You
corner.
cannot go against a god. You cannot go against
No, but I don't know. I just thought without Bone 7, things were not going to go as planned. And so I was kind of down on Speed. And I think what happened,
Well-
the bet was Liquid would place higher than Speed. And I thought, oh, that's easy money. Liquid's going to place higher than Speed. They're on a winning streak. And then even Cap backed me up on that. He's like, Liquid's on a winning streak. They're
I
playing
know.
well. So I'm like, all right, this is good. And then I think he
Cap
said,
was high, though.
and I think he said Liquid's getting 6th. And I was like, oh, all right, I'll still take that bet. Liquid's going to get better than Speed, and then Speed comes around and just wins this thing. So they played they played way better than I could ever suspected, and I think they just stepped up. I mean, with all the drama like we talked about earlier, they stepped up when they needed to. They made the plays.
I think the big decision was a switch, because I think if they kept it the same, I think they wouldn't have won.
But that's what it comes down to, is adjustments.
That was
you adapt or die.
Exactly.
They adapted.
Yeah, they played like the Patriots.
Succeeded. Yeah,
that's it.
Gotta step up when you need to. So let's talk about game 2. We got a draft. Game 2 is kind of where it slowly started turning around for them. You said they had the momentum in game 1, but in game 2 is when we saw the EE clinks with Blink. I mean, I still don't know how I feel about this, but
Blink first too, which was interesting. I hadn't seen that one up until that game. I've seen them go Blink. It's always after Orchid.
Okay. So like
that was an interesting game.
I guess explain that phenomenon, because for me it's like, yes, I can understand why it might work, but it just seemed like it was a bad idea, and it felt like EE just kept trying to force it, and it started to work. Like Orchid Blink on Clinks.
Yeah.
Like,
well, there's many uses for the Blink on Clinks, right? The most obvious is when you initiate on someone, you have such high attack speed with Strafe active that you don't want to just orb walk them. You want to just constantly be able to shoot. And with Blink, that's an instant gap closer after you open and they're running away, to get right on top of them and get another, 600 damage off?
Yep.
Just Blink? So that gives you way more killing potential on its own. And then you also have the ability to position yourself, and this fits right in with Speed Gaming's teamfight strategy, or teamfight style, I should say, where they like to come from weird angles, which is especially apparent in Game 3, but we're not quite there yet. But
yeah,
you can just come from behind, or come from the side, then blink into a better position, and just instantly pop your BKB and rip apart the supports, and just have a 5v3 team fight. It's a really, really good positioning tool, and on Clinks with how high his burst is, it just works. And EE Sama he's shown on that.
Well,
hero.
in that game especially though, the transitions. So Pi and Aoi, who was on Visage, they had a lot of success ganking that game, and that Wisp DK with the Alchemist combo wasn't really working out. They put so much pressure. Sing Sing on Mirana just kept ganking and ganking and ganking and ganking, burning. I think he was 0-6. I think he got a Midas at 13 minutes or some shit in this game.
Yeah,
he was getting wrecked, and then Envy was just farming and farming and farming, and then Envy said, "Okay, S on his chest," and just went off. But no offense to Envy though, it goes back to what I've been saying, that as much as I love Envy and as much as I appreciate Arteezy, I feel like a lot of people don't realize that Pylai Dai and Aoi played such a great tournament, because those are things, if you look at the scoreboard, you only see the GPM from Envy, you see the 8-1, you see all his items, and you think, yo, this guy killed it. The thing is, what his supports did to the opposing carry was incredible. And I think that that's why they won the game, not so much the Blink.
Sounds like a douchebag, but the way it is the general viewership, they see the kills and all the kills that someone's getting.
Absolutely.
They're like, man, that guy, I love that guy. He gets all the kills. And the supporters, they've just never it's changed a bit in the past 6 months or so, especially with EGM being himself.
Yeah.
And Kuroki, those guys they were stellar with Rubik and Naga going to TI3. But sports just never really got a lot of credit, because it's hard to notice the little subtle things that sports do. Whereas it's really obvious to anyone when you see a guy get a godlike streak that he's doing well.
Well, hold on though, because I want to talk about what the supports did. And you keep going back to Aoi and you keep going back to Pylai Dai. I want to talk a little bit about Sigma versus Speed in that regard. And this is where any casual Dota fan can know how good somebody is. To have the presence of mind for Aoi to go in with his BKB on that Crystal Maiden, I think it was game 1 of Sigma versus, no, it was game 2, I think. I can't remember. It was game 1 or 2 of Sigma versus Speed. And Aoi goes in as the Crystal Maiden, and he pops off his BKB and he starts the freezing field. Everybody on Sigma pops their BKB off, baited so hard, They come in and they fight and they wreck. They wreck Sigma because of that. And that's just a play that they'll make 9 times out of 10 because they're that good. Highlight that with the shackle shots. We talked about it a ton already. And Owie with just his play, his superb play. So that's something even a casual viewer can really, see and say, wow, these guys are fantastic. You see it with the ganks that they set up as well. And then the more advanced Dota fans are like, these guys are rotating effectively. They're finding, they're calling the right, strategies effectively. It's like, okay, we back off now. We don't need to fight here. We take the tower. We back. We do, we go Roche. We do whatever. They call out the right strategies as well. And you're right. And honestly, if I had to pick an MVP for Speed Gaming, which I think all 5 of them played amazingly, I'd say honestly it was Owie and Pylai died. The 2 supports together. I can't really think of one, in my right opinion, but I think they played fantastic.
The only reason I would say Pi over Owie is because Owie struggled on Chen in game 3, and I think Pi continued his streak of phenomenal performances. But Robert, you haven't been around me as much. So that's something I keep an eye on. Is I feel like supports never really get the credit that they deserve, even though they're the most important part of not only a team but professional Dota. I think people have this.
The last part.
I kind of feel. I mean, I'll give an example. Alliance, the best team in the world, right? They have S4, arguably one of the best European mids. But what is the engine on that team is the tandem of Ake and EGM.
I love Aki.
They have individuals. I'm sorry?
Any one player is more important than another. You need 5 players that work well together, and I guess
of course.
Nudge in importance of being a little more important than the others is the guy that is your actual in-game leader, the shot caller. The one that's directing you around the map. Because that is absolutely crucial. If you don't have that on a team, your team is shit.
Yeah, and on most teams, it's the supports as opposed to. I mean, I know you may have a different experience with Fear. But, yeah. Team DK, Fear obviously on EG.
Well, not so much, not always. Some games he couldn't do it, and when we were left to our own devices, we struggled.
Yeah, I mean it's all right, but I'm only highlighting the fact that the supports played so well, and it's a shame that people don't recognize this because Speed Gaming isn't, or this tournament at least, wasn't all about just Artesian mid and Envy as the carry. I feel like Pi and Owie were so huge.
Are you trying to say that supports are the offensive line of esports?
Of course, absolutely. Right. They're the lifeblood of the team, especially for carry players, right? There's a lot of carry players that. I'll give you an example. Game 2, right? Burning was getting manhandled, but they drafted an IO. They had a Chen as well. The supports that couldn't really do anything. Okay. The opposing supports made his life a living hell. IO. Yeah, well, I mean,
the Wind Ranger. Pylai die on the Wind Ranger. No one likes that.
I'm never calling her that. I casted once already, and I said Windrunner every time, and people in chat were just like, "Dude, it's Wind Ranger." I'm like. You can fuck yourself. I'm going to call her Windrunner. So that's me. Sorry, guys.
I'm with you there. I'll stand strong. Let's look at some clips. This is why we finished talking about this game.
That was a really gritty draft, though, by fucking Team DK, though. I'm not going to lie.
You think so? In what ways? What do you think would...
They had Chen, OD, and IO on one team. That was pretty... I mean, that was pretty significant, I think.
Where's their D-shit heroes?
Yeah, they don't have any D-shit
That's my point, is what are they going to do? Especially when you have, look at this. That's the play you were talking about earlier.
That's it. That was the one, man.
Triple kill. But look, what can they do? There's no defense there, right? Because you can't do anything. Chen isn't 6 yet, so it's not like he can ultimate, and then he can't send someone back as well. He's not he doesn't have the mana pool, even at 6 to really do all that stuff. So
how did they not know he was coming there? They must have called missing. It took him a while to get up there. It's not like he had a haste rune or anything, I don't think. Yeah. So they should have known he was coming. I don't know what they thought was going to happen there. He didn't TP in, I don't think. So... That's a weird. He walked in,
but shit happens on LAN.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. I just think that they were flustered. I honestly think that DK just didn't play well, and that's not to take it at all away from Speed. I just feel like Speed had a better draft. Speed executed much better than they did, and I just think that's the result. I mean, it's nothing personal against Team DK. They just weren't good enough. In Game 2, they lost every lane.
Yeah.
Right? Arteezy was playing aggressive. Look at Sama over here just hey, screw you, Blink. Watch this. Oh no, lag. But anyways, the point is they're playing aggressively, and what can DK do? Nothing. They had a very greedy draft that got punished, and they also had 3 Midases on the team.
Midas Gaming.
Midas Gaming.
I think Arteezy, though, I know you said Paladai, you want to call him the VP and that kind of stuff. I think Arteezy stepped up big time. At least for me, I was kind of a hater. I was a hater. I'll say that. I was a hater of Speed Gaming a couple weeks ago. But I think Arteezy, being a stand-in, playing on LAN, all that kind of stuff, I think the cards were against him, and I think he stepped up, and he played just hugely good. That's
aside from the first day. But that was warm-up.
Yeah. It was the first day. The sad part about first day is I made a killing on rares on first day because I bet against Speed Gaming every single game, and I made a whole bunch of rares. And then on days 2 and 3, I lost all those rares on Speed Gaming. So, they played good. They bounced back. Like, how many teams can you say go into the game or day 1, play that bad, and then bounce back and go? But they went 5-0 after the first day. I mean, that resilience is just phenomenal, and that's mental toughness, that's skill, that's just sitting down and going, okay, we sucked day 1, we're going to own it, and we're going to move on to day 2. Like, that in itself is just shows that they have, a large amount of confidence, big balls in a way. They stepped up when they had to, and I think Arteezy kind of led that charge in a way. Does anyone want to disagree with me on that?
No, it took sacrifice because both Envy played off lane and Sing Sing played off lane. They sacrificed for Arteezy's comfort because Arteezy's a mid player, right? So and I think that is, to me, the biggest story is, man, how good are you guys that you guys can swap like that on the fly and play these incredibly talented teams and still have the games that you had and still play the way that you played. I thought that was incredible, and I think that's the
biggest tryhards in Dota.
Yeah, I mean, really, but the thing is, you see it pays off, right?
Yep.
Like, that's the joke, right? Is, I mean, you're a tryhard, blah, blah, blah.
Not a joke after this tournament.
Yeah, it's exactly it, right? Like they're showing you right here,
look,
look.
120K or something like that?
Yeah, man.
No.
Ridiculous amount of money.
But they made, 60, 70?
Something like that.
I still think it's crazy that Aaron found out that after that win, he's made more money than Fear in terms of not overall career, just in tournament winnings. I think that's incredible. Just for Dota 2. Wow. That's incredible.
Well, we sucked ass. By we, I mean each that I was on.
I mean, it's okay. Our teams, they didn't really. I mean, it happens. Like, not every team can be Na'Vi, right? Or Alliance or whatever. And
yeah.
Somebody has to be the Kansas City Royals every year, right?
Oh wow!
Jesus.
Wow.
Well,
holy moly, that's cold.
You just went there.
Wow.
It's true. You got Zach Greinke for handle 2 years to get rid of him. All right, let's talk about Game 3. Let's wrap this up, man. This show, we're still going. We're reaching a long time. Let's talk about Game 3, and then let's wrap this before it gets too late. Game 3. Once again, we saw the Clinks. How did you feel about the Clinks in Game 3?
Somebody told me, I think it was PPD, who, I don't know, he told me you never draft the same shit if it worked 2 games in a row, and I disagree with him completely. I think that hero is ridiculously strong. Honestly, I do. I saw it a lot in the NEL when it first 6.79 changed. People knew that Clinks was legit, and I'm surprised that people hadn't picked him up more in games previously because the searing arrow changes is really amazing. He's really good, I feel like, with farm now, and he doesn't need a lot of it as well. You just get an Orchid, you can blow people up rather quickly. So I love the Clinks pickup. I like that they grabbed the CM again. I think Clockwork had not really treated Sing Sing particularly well in this tournament, but they needed to go for something like that on obviously our TZOD. What can you say about it other than he loves that hero, and for good reason. The other side, though, you've got a decent lineup coming out for DK too. So, but this was a team that could get blown up by the Clinks. The bounty hunter pickup for Ice Ice Ice, I don't think it worked particularly well in the game, and they wanted it to be able to track down the Clinks, and obviously bounty hunter is good other than that. But what can you say? I think that they did really well this game with the draft that they had. I don't know if they outdrafted them, but I think they did a good job in the draft.
Well, I think the lane was interesting, right? So, Rob, I have a question for you. So my problem when I saw this initially was Mushi went middle against the OD. Now, he does decently well. He did decently well against the OD, so that wasn't the problem. The issue was they supported the Alchemist, and I felt if you look at it in contrast, right, if you put the gyro middle, which is going to do basically the same thing because flat cannon is still always going to be available, right, for not only to harass but obviously to farm
well,
creep.
until OD hits level 5.
Well, sure, but you know what I'm saying, though, is he'll have a decent enough time to be able to get phase drums into a BKB and then become a force in the later game, like they were expecting the Venomancer to be. The real issue was that they didn't have any beef because what Eternal Envy kept doing was blinking behind Mushi and kept killing him before he can get his ult off in fights. So ultimately what happened was I felt like DK had the right set of heroes to beat this lineup this time, right? The issue I think was when they, instead of giving Mushi either the Alchemist or the Gyro, they ended up supporting the Alchemist, and where the problem came was they had no frontline hero. Burning literally played how Arteezy played in game 2 on OD that whole game. He was being baited, right? Like that's basically what was happening is he was forced to go in first and he just kept dropping because of the clinks change. That played a significant factor in everything that went on because Burning just couldn't survive in these fights. He had a lot of deaths that gyros normally don't have to have if they have a hero like an Alchemist going first. Do you think that was part of the problem or not? Because I didn't like the support Alk. I felt Alk needed a more prominent role in this
putting Gyro mid in this game or Alchemist, neither is really an option against OD. It's not just because it's OD, it's because there's a Chen CM on the team as well. Yeah. It is so insanely easy to smoke gank for an OD. Person steps up forward, one step too far, you come from your own hill because they're astraled. You can do that. You don't have to smoke around and come from behind. You have a quicker route because of the astral. Gyro, squishy hero that just dies if you gank him. 3 heroes come plus a creep, he's dead. No question, he's not getting out of there. Unless they miss the stomp or miss something off of the astral, but that's kind of like a fluke to live. Alchemist, if he's mid, he's getting nothing. He's just losing all of his mana, he's 100% unable to spam out acid, and he's just kind of sitting there like, well, I wish I was an Alchemist right now. They didn't draft something that was good against OD, despite being against it for the 3rd time in the series. Veno did okay because Veno's hard to gank. Once he gets levels and gets a bunch of wards, what I like to call a snake castle, once he gets that castle going, you can't penetrate it, you can't knock it down. He's going to constantly push the lane into your tower, and your OD can't extend past it because he'll just take too much damage. Plus he's slowed, so he's not going to be able to get the initiation off on the Venomancer. So Veno's just a hero that isn't going to die mid. The problem was they took the game late, and then all of a sudden you've got a double hex on OD, and your gyrocopter gets 0 attacks off in a fight. Because he just gets hexed and ulted by OD, and he's just dead. OD got way too massive. They underestimated the late game power of OD, and that really screwed them over.
Because that's what I felt was the only... Because even at the end of the game, I felt DK could have won. The problem was, especially that last fight at Roshan, Burning has to go in first. And I feel like if you have an Alchemist instead, so if you threw the Gyro middle and you had the Alchemist farming, Alchemist now can go in first. He's not as squishy. Because this Alchemist couldn't do it because he just died in literally 2 hits. I mean, E was just beating the shit out of the Veno pick.
When at the Roshan fights, they know that Burning's in there hitting Roche because they have Clockwork Rocket scouting it. Then they double force Steph Arteezy because they just made that a thing now.
Build the 4 stacks.
Yeah, double force stuff RTZ into the pit, and all of a sudden he's killing Burning instantly before the fight even begins. Then you've got a 5v4 while Burning bought back, if it was even, or while Burning was buying back and running there, the times that it was available, and it was just fights going favorably for speed. And another big one was that top fight where TZ TP'd in as the tower died, and NV came in from behind with his blink, and they just completely sandwiched DK and swung the momentum in the game around for themselves.
That was the interesting thing. Yeah.
Speed's a team
that's exactly...
They're just smart about taking engagements. They know when their line is strong enough to fight, and they know which angles to come from to catch you off guard.
Yeah.
And I don't think DK was prepared enough for Speed's style of play. If you prepare for Speed and know that they're going to come from different angles, you can have wards set up specifically for that, and sniff it out, catch it, and all of a sudden they're the ones that's screwed. However, if you're not prepared for it, you're just getting boned. Real bad.
Bone 7?
Yeah, because that was the problem was...
Or bone clinks.
Just regular boned?
Sama kept blinking in, and he kept killing Mushi before the ultimate. Like, Mushi ended up having to get a Manta to take the Orchid off so that he could at least get an ultimate. And I felt like, though it was decent enough in lane, unfortunately, you didn't give Mushi a hero in which he could, help create or just be Mushi, right? So the Mushi factor couldn't come into play because of the hero he was playing, and I feel like, and the way he was playing it, of course, like, because he got the mech on their team and then he got an Aghanims. So I felt that was a big problem on their side. So
I also didn't really like the Bounty Hunter pick for DK because of their play style. I think it works for Na'Vi because Funnick is so good at that hero. He's played it hundreds, if not thousands of times throughout scrims, matches, pubs, and whatnot. He's just played a shit ton of that hero. And he's able to do things that other people aren't, getting extra experience and gold out of his lane, using Shuriken 9 out of 10 times to interrupt a spell that you're casting when he's going for a gank. And Bounty Hunter as a hero is kind of reliant on the other team to make mistakes, to get picked off, to give you that track hold, and to be out of position. They got a good amount of track hold out of the team fights, but the hero just kind of doesn't do a lot outside of track. I don't think it's one of Ice's best heroes.
No.
I'm not saying Ice is bad on it. He's definitely good at everything. Ice is a goddamn ridiculously good player. Everyone in this game is a ridiculously good player, like in the series. But Bounty Hunter isn't at, like, one of his upper echelon of heroes.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that because initially I thought, man, this would have been a good time to have him on Furion because he's notorious for his Furion play. And they ended up going Gondar for a more aggressive build. I just don't think they expected the game to go that way because I don't think they expected the Clinks to be as proficient in this game because they even tried to stop him this time. They even were trying to pressure him. EE was not phased though, and I think they miscalculated on that again, like because he was making a mockery out of them again. He was blinking in and killing Mushi. Mushi would have to buy back, and then the next fight. But all those buybacks, I mean, look at. I think Burning only had like 3 items at the end of the game, and he had like I don't know. I think it's like 600 CS or some shit. Like he had more than 500 for sure. That's because of all the buybacks. That's because of all the times he had to die and then buy back to salvage a fight. So that was tough, man. Like that was a tough game for me to watch. I was very happy for Speed, but I was very disheartened for B-God. So
we can't just keep taking a player's name and take the first letter of their name and add God at the end.
He was the original, though.
Because sooner or later, we're just going to run out of letters. Like, we're like, the CN God, the DLC God. We're just...
Listen.
But in fairness, though, I heard that at TI2.
Come on.
That's before RTZ.
There's too many gods out there. We got, what, L God, B God, A God, M God.
God.
What else?
Z
God. We're getting there.
Yeah.
We're gonna start.
A-God's, I don't know if he's really earned it yet. I think it's just kind of a funny thing that Bulba said on Matt or something. He's like the A-God. I just kind of use it for fun.
Oh, I thought for a second you said B-God and we're talking about Bulba.
Okay, alright.
No, never.
You can take it.
Although, I will say this, as a true fan of Burning, I feel like after TI3, well, his performance in TI3, I was very disappointed by, and that's why I said what I said earlier, Rob, was that I don't think he's the star of his own show anymore. I feel like Mushi has overtaken him as the predominant player on that team. I feel like Burning, I don't want to say he's losing it or whatever, but I feel like he's not as strong as he was in TI2. Like, and you can tell just
slowing down
because, well, he's been pressured. I mean, TI2, like, there was a game where he was pressured just as much as he was in that Alchemist game, and he still on AM had a Battle Fury by like 18 minutes, and people were like, "What the heck?" And then he had the 25K and 25-minute game. Like, I feel like, man, that was a tough series for him. I feel like he got exposed, and I think that's very, taboo to say, but I'm a very big fan of Burning, and I mean, I love that guy. Like, that's the only team pennant I have. So, I just
killing esports by not buying more team.
I mean, I got to tell you that I feel like he got exposed, because I felt like EE was the difference if you compare the two, because Envy, I think, definitely outclassed him in this series. I don't know if you guys agree or whatever, but I can tell you from a fan of his, I was very disappointed in the way he played. I was not happy.
Well, when you're dealing with playing a lot of games in a row and jet lag,
yes, jet lag.
You make mistakes. It happens.
Yeah.
The one thing that I wish would happen with tournaments, and especially, or I should say LAN tournaments, is for teams to be able to get there days in advance.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't that a thing? Like, give teams like 3 days to adjust to the new time zone.
It's expensive, I think, for organizations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can tell you right now, the hotels are busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That definitely hurts, but I wish like the teams and the organizations would do that for their players so they could have better performances. Especially,
I think with more
like
money
Sing,
coming in. Yeah.
Sing had like 30 to 35 hours of travel just to get there. Like, that's insane. I couldn't imagine trying to play after that.
Just awful. But didn't he fly into somewhere else and take a bus in? Like, that alone just sucks. Like, you don't want to take a bus anywhere in the U.S. Like,
well, I think that's the fault of Mark. I mean, I don't want to bring it up again, but I think he was cutting corners because, I mean, yeah, he's cutting corners because I can tell you first off, like you have to put that into account with your players. Like, that he was cutting corners. He was being an asshole. That was unfair for that to happen.
Yeah,
honestly.
But I think that speaks more to that speed stepping up, like with that travel. The fact that Sing still stepped up, like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It says a lot. Like, it says a lot about just personality.
And he's playing a role he didn't practice. He had no practice on that role. So
no.
He's good enough to play it, but still, that's not the point. Like, it's a foreign role to him, and he still played very well, and he picked up the slack, right? Like, because I'm telling you, like, and it's no offense to Arteezy, but I think if they kept him at the off lane, I don't think they have these results. I think that switch was incredible. I think that was a very smart switch. Yeah. So
anyone that knows Arteezy and knows how he plays, he's not going to play nearly as well if he's in any other lane than mid, because that's just he's a prodigy mid. Anywhere else in the map, I feel like he's not nearly as strong.
Yeah. So
I was running those clips right now, and we were just talking about a second ago, but those Crystal Maiden ults, especially at the Roshan pit, they were just phenomenal. Like, the fact that
refresher.
Crystal Maiden, just the ult does so much damage. It goes untouched. I mean, it's just kind of crazy. That's why Crystal Maiden now.
CM's ult is strong.
It is strong.
It's always been strong.
If you'd have told me like 3 months ago that Crystal Maiden would be like one of the best supports and her ult would just be killing fools left and right, I would have not have believed you. Like,
we spoke about the patch log change though. It's because she's the 2-1-2 format. She's so good at winning a lane. She's incredibly good at winning a lane. She transitions very well to gank, and then guess what? Right? She's low maintenance. So it's different now. Like, we talk tri-lanes, that was her weakness, right? It was tri-lanes because her movement speed, and she's so squishy and all that stuff. There's no retreat. So in this one, you don't really have that issue. But yeah, the back door was ridiculous. That little back door strat they had, that was pretty funny to watch. Like, they were definitely playing some sneaky, I don't even know if you want to call that rat Dota, but that was Isama Dota.
Isama Dota. Please don't.
I did that with Fear and a scrimming against Fnatic.
Mhm.
Back before EMS, I want to say EMS Summer. We had Anti-Mage and Chen. They had PL, Furion, and Coddle. And I was just sitting there. I was like, all right, Fear, you're 6 slotted. I'm buying a Blink Dagger. You're going to go back door the racks, and when you get hexed, I'm going to send you home. And they're never going to kill you, and we're just going to whittle their buildings down. And it took 30 minutes, and at the end of the game, Era said, wow, you guys just cured cancer with AIDS. So that's what I'm gonna say that EE and Owie did there. They cured cancer with AIDS that game. They're like, you know, we can't. We don't want to risk another team fight, so we're just gonna take the secure win that you guys can't deal with, because you're not gonna kill off the Clinks that's blinking in and hitting your racks during a strafe while he's getting sent home by Chen. You've got like a 2-second window to do it, and that's just not gonna happen. Especially with him having a BKB.
Well,
That's a pretty slick strategy. Wow. That's actually pretty sweet.
Next level.
And you definitely did cure cancer, because PL Coddle's one of the worst teams to fucking, like, it's touch, like you almost can't siege against them.
Yeah,
Try
I
split
got
pushing, like, oh my goodness. It's a
I
pain in
picked
the
that
dick.
up off of one of the Russian teams back, like, after TI won. And then I used it a couple of times before TI3 happened in our games. Then I was doing it now. It's a thing that's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
It's just not commonly seen because it's not exactly something that happens all the time. Like late game with Chen and someone else that has a blink, or a carry that has a blink rather.
All right, fellas. Sorry, I was distracted there for a second. Any last thoughts?
Great host.
Sorry. It's been a day. Hey, you know what? You should be happy why I was distracted there. You'll find out in a second. Any last thoughts on Speed Gaming versus DK? Nobody.
Well played, Steve.
Bueller.
What is going on,
Bueller.
Burning? Oh,
It was a
great.
It was a great series. Good. It was a good discussion. But let's let's kind of slowly close this out before it gets too late. I know it's getting late for you guys on the East Coast. This week, hot seat questions brought to you by tweetaudio.com. If you go to tweetaudio.com and use the promo code FIRSTPICK, all one word, just FIRSTPICK, you get 33% off your order. Tweaked Audio is one of the best headphone companies. I'm wearing them right now. They are very, very high quality, very comfortable. Some have mics, some don't. They have 6 different styles, 7 different colors. Tweaked Audio is awesome. So if you head over there, go to tweakedaudio.com, use the code FIRSTPICK. They'll hook you up. 33% off, free shipping. You can't beat that. You get 33% off and free shipping. Seriously. Just for typing in a few letters. You can't beat that. So Tweaked Audio this week, sponsoring the hot seat questions, going at Bdiz. Bdiz, you ready?
Oh boy.
All right. I wrote some questions down. That's why I was distracted, because I realized that
All right.
I had one job this week, and it was to make more hot seat questions, and I realized about 30 seconds ago that I did not make any more hot seat questions. So first question for you. What is your favorite LAN you've ever attended?
Favorite LAN?
Yes.
TI3, even though I wasn't playing.
Okay.
I went as a spectator, and that was a one-of-a-kind experience. Having people know who you are and come up to you to say hi and ask for your autograph, that's fucking mind-blowing, man.
it's awesome.
Like,
It's so awesome.
it's, like, everyone is friendly. The event run by Valve was amazing. The venue, Benaroya Hall, was phenomenal.
It's
Like,
gorgeous
being...
place.
Everything about that event owned, except for the fact that I couldn't get to the players' lounge. They wouldn't let me in because I wasn't playing in the event.
That hurts.
I wanted to go hang out with Fear because he was able to get back there. He was in the documentary, and I wanted to go talk to him, and they were like, "Nope."
Don't feel bad, man. Miguel, like, yeah, there's a lot of players that had the same issue. It sucks. It's all good though.
But that event was amazing. I think a close second would be, well, not really a close second. A distant second would be DreamHack Winter. It was the first LAN I went to. First time I left the country. And
Very nice.
just that it was just a surreal experience for the first time you leave the country, and then getting to the Grand Finals. It was the first time that Fear had been on the final stage at DreamHack, despite going to many, and it was a great experience.
Very
Hey,
nice.
Aside
guys,
from
sorry
losing.
for the demon throws. What?
No.
What?
Wow. Wow.
Whoa.
Uh,
Those barking spiders, bro. I don't know what's going on.
Blow. All
I
right.
hear that shit.
So okay. So the next question: caster, player, or spectator? What's the best role to play?
oh boy.
That's easy, actually.
Yeah, I think that's easy too.
That's
Let's
easy.
see. I thoroughly enjoyed playing, but it's not me anymore. I've kind of moved on. That it's not right for me anymore. But while I was playing, that was like far and away the only option. Casting is definitely a lot of fun because I don't even like consider it to be work or something. I'm just like sitting there with a friend and talking about a video game that I would be watching anyway.
Casting
You know,
it's so easy. Like anybody can do it.
And they make more money.
Whoa.
I mean, it's just
Whoa.
it's easy money. Like
What? What? Are you
This guy
fucking
that's
serious?
nothing
you-
hosting here? Just
Oh
chilling.
my god.
I was
Done.
hoping you were paying attention.
Well,
Casting.
it's easier than playing, but
Yeah,
it does have
Yeah.
its.
No,
It's
casting's
very difficult.
Fucking difficult to keep shit flowing for 45 minutes is difficult.
45 minutes. What the fuck games are you watching?
I'm just averaging. I'm just averaging. You got some maybe like 30, some like hour and a half.
The draft alone is like 10 to 15 minutes.
That's true.
Yep.
All right, I wasn't factoring in that. But I think
It's
the worst
sad.
part of casting was when someone pauses or disconnects, because then you're sitting there with your pants down, just like, okay, guys.
Goddamn Twilight books and start reading away.
Yes.
Whoa, you're a Twilight fan?
Someone
Come
has
on,
to give
Rob.
Robert Pattinson some
Make
love.
sure the process
Come on.
worked. I
I'm
have never read that
right
book.
now.
I would
Oh,
bust
man.
out the George R.R. Martin.
Yes. God.
Wait, comparing casting to playing is like comparing apples to oranges.
Is-
Then you've
yeah.
got spectating, which at home it's nice because you could just kind of like relax. Like during DreamHack this weekend, I would watch Dota. Then okay, game's over. We got some commercials. We got the bam bam bam, the extend going on. Let me go tab over to this Counter-Strike stream, which that North American Counter-Strike came back.
Yeah, until they got stomped on by Fnatic.
Top 4 finish. Hello. Nip Nip lost, which as much as I like watching them win because they're amazing, and I watched a bunch of them in Counter-Strike, watching someone else win is always nice. And Fnatic, they were destined to win. This was a tweet that I saw from someone. Then I watched some of the StarCraft tournament, and Tasia just, it's not summer anymore, but Tasia's still winning. It was nice to be able to sit at home and just flip instantly to these different streams and watch all these different games that I get enjoyment out of watching. But spectating at a live event is kind of like, it's nice to be around the players that I'm friends with, because I'm still friends with players on a bunch of different teams. Seeing them, hanging out with them is always nice, but at the same time, like, man, I wish I was playing instead of just sitting here watching them.
Casting. Or casting.
Forecasting.
That's just how I feel, man. You go to an MLG event, you want to cast.
When I'm at a... Oh, yeah, okay. No, I see where you're going with that.
Alright.
Have you seen my baseball? Sorry, Rob. Love you long time, bro.
All
Had to
right.
do it.
Next
My bad.
question. We got a couple more. Most underrated item in Dota.
Underrated item?
Yes.
Oh, that's
What?
easy. That's easy.
Like, what
Come on,
item
bro.
do you consider so goddamn good, but no one else respects it like
Four
it
letters.
deserves?
4 letters?
4 letters. That's easy.
Scotty's not 4 letters.
4 letters.
Diffusal.
Diffusal?
Yules.
That's also not 4 level.
Oh, Yules.
No, I
Those
think
are
use
good.
is usually a waste of money.
Whoa!
I agree.
Oh, we can have a whole show on this. Okay.
Like,
Let's
You're
send
probably
it.
right.
It's absolutely necessary, but I think that it's only good in certain situations, and on certain heroes like Tinker, for example. Dendy on Tinker at DreamHack Summer 2012 against MTW. When they had a bear, he made excellent use out of Yules. Pucks when they're against an Orchid going Yules, that's fine. You need it to survive. You absolutely need it. It's very useful on Puck when you're against an Orchid hero. but I don't think it's that good of an item. Defusal, on the other hand, you can use that to purge Hex. For example, Puppy did that in a match. Something where, like, I thought of trying to get that on a support way back in Han when Blink Hex was just like the dominant metagame in Han for a while, and I just never had enough money because I'm a 6 player. And I think it's a very versatile item that you can use the way Puppy's done on Venomancer on a couple different support heroes, and I think it's really, really good.
And it currently is the only, I guess, even though it's not, but a counter to the Necro Book. So, because you still take the damage, which is something else that this whole Necro Book every game stuff.
Just build Midas's and Necro Books. You'll win.
That's it. I know.
All day, every day.
I hate that shit.
Hard life.
It's easy.
God.
The game's easy.
Yeah.
There's so much versatility in Defusal, and it has.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I like that. That was a good.
I like Defusal, but
that was a much more thought out answer than I suspected.
I still think you'll.
Not a Scotty.
I
saying.
like to think out my answers. I usually start with some bullshit for the first 10-15 seconds while I'm actually thinking up a good answer, right?
No, just take your time. It's okay.
Good. No,
Yeah.
it
Not time.
was
You
good.
gotta build the headspace.
It was very good. You only got a couple more. Heroes of New Earth or Dota 2?
Oh, boy.
Dota 2.
Oh,
That's
that's a
easy.
loaded question. Well, all right, let me answer this question.
Maut,
Which game is
you
playing
get-
more now?
You can have some hot seat questions after. You gotta wait your turn, son.
All right, fine.
Oh, get some.
Take a fucking seat.
Regulate. He just dumped
very-
you.
See if I ever come back on your show again.
Sorry,
All right, that's
man.
it.
Sorry. I'll treat you well. I'll buy you a beer if you come out to Anaheim. Then we'll call it even. Last question. Take one Dota hero out onto a date. Who would you take?
Oh my.
One Dota hero.
Out on a date.
There's only one answer. Only one answer to this question.
There really is only one answer.
Puck?
Is it?
What? That's
What?
an alien.
What?
What are you into?
It's a fairy dragon. Come on.
Okay, Puck is
Whoa.
a pretty lady, and she deserves to be respected as a pretty lady that she is. All right.
Pot him and then hopefully get some lessons on how to hit arrows out of her.
All right.
Nice. Well, that's the wrong answer, but okay.
Alright, what's your answer?
Wait, are you gonna ask me that question?
You might
Finch?
get that question. Yes.
Okay.
There's a
we'll wait
slight
for that
possibility that that's the only question that's on every hot seat list every time.
Then. Good.
Oh,
Good.
All right.
Strange
Okay.
question.
You survived the tweaked audio hot seat questions this time. Maut, you're up next. We'll just go first question. Dota hero, taking them on a date. Who you taking?
It's Luna.
Luna.
You would be a fool not to pick Luna.
Luna.
alright. Have you
Nice.
been going into like this new showcase viewer and just checking out her ass or something?
Who doesn't? Come on now, please.
Uh-oh.
Maut's getting freaky with
Yo,
Hey,
I told you he was down with the freaky
Whatever
shit.
floats
I mean,
his
he
boat,
just-
all right? Whatever keeps him
This
happy.
guy.
You know, he was a little bit sad today, but just load up the Dota 2,
I'm happy now.
showcase
You've
Luna.
made me happy. You've made me happy.
All right. Okay, you want to hear a funny story? Can I do a tangent? You guys tangented, all right?
If
So,
it's
Go
funny,
for it.
it's kind of
Yeah,
funny.
funny
It's
story.
funny.
So I don't know.
so it's not funny.
downgraded it from
What's
funny
the-
to kind of.
What's his name?
Yep.
Milk Fat. Does that name ring a bell?
Yes.
Okay. Did he have a kid and name his kid Luna?
Okay. No, he a niece.
A
And I'm
niece.
pretty sure that the whole George Lopez segment was just set up.
Okay. All
I
right.
don't think it's actually true.
So then maybe this made you thought of Luna. Okay, so story time. Story time with Finch, all right? So my fiance, right? She does not really love the Dota as much as I love the Dota. She somehow has a friend of a friend that hangs out with Milk Fat, right? And so she goes to a party one night. This is like 3 or 4 years ago for him, and it's a Dota party. And there's people dressed up as Dire and whatever the Dota 1 equivalent was. Was it Dire and
Sentinel and Scourge.
Well,
Sentinel
Come
and
on
Scourge?
now.
All right, so there's people like dressed up in that
Hellborn
stuff.
and Radiant.
Hellborn. So there's people dressed up as this stuff and dressed up as Dota heroes. And at this time, this is like 3 or 4 years ago when I was just like StarCraft. And so she calls me and was like, "Hey, what's Dota?" So I had to explain it to her, right? So she went to some Dota party with Dota heroes, and I thought for some reason he had a kid named Luna or something like that. I thought I saw some stupid article. But yeah, so my fiance has been to more Dota parties than I have, and supposedly some girl there drank so much she shit her pants. So Must have been a weird
What a
Interesting. That
fucking
took a weird turn at the
Yeah, yeah, it's weird stuff. But that's a story that
Story time
happened.
with Finch, sponsored by Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Crazy
Oh my
wants to
goodness.
sponsor it. So I've not been to a Dota party
What's
before.
that story?
I'm just telling you. That's my thought process. He said Luna. I thought MilkFat had a kid named Luna, and that's where that kind of slowly sprawled out from. So there
So
you go.
basically, what you were saying is you think Travis likes kids.
No.
Yes,
I did
round
not.
out, Travis.
I did not know.
That's
I
what
didn't
he
go that
thinks of
far.
you.
No.
Yo,
We're
Travis
reaching
likes
really
kids,
far
bro.
here.
No. All
right.
right. That is not a hot seat
Okay.
question. That is
Okay,
not a
okay.
hot seat question. All right, Travis. What hero can you play over and over and never get sick of?
Let's see here.
He was like
There's
an
a
OG
couple of
person.
them. There's a couple. Fuck no, dude. Oh, that's cancerous.
Do you
I like
actually
that
call
game.
what he does in Dota playing?
Oh my god, dude! I will wreck Bdiz. Listen.
I will wreck you.
Okay, I'm done with Bdiz. Okay, I play Luna a lot because I actually can carry with her pretty effectively. It's not hard to do.
Well, who can't?
I enjoy
R.
playing like any mid. Any mid is fun. Any
Huh?
support role. I can play any hero over and over again. I don't have one specific
What
hero
about
that I can
Enigma?
play over and over. Fuck you. Fuck you.
What's the inside story there, Rob? Tell us. What
I-
happened?
Okay,
don't
I'll tell the
remember I
story.
didn't get
I'll tell the
that.
story. It's my story. My story. So
Good, keep
I
going.
cast the NL. I cast the NL for those of you that that know what that is, which is an in-house league in America, the NA Dota Elite League. And one day I decided I'd play with a bunch of people I know and friends in the NEL, and I'd stream it. Unfortunately, I had a rough game. I wasn't feeling very well that day, and I had a level 4 Enigma at 10 minutes in the game with about 0 farm. That's the story. That's it. Done. Moving on. Next question.
I was
I feel
expecting
like
that
Travis
story
is
to
mad at
last
me.
a little bit longer. That's all right. What is the most underrated hero in Dota?
Most underrated hero in Dota. Can you give me a second? Let me think about this. I really need to go in depth
Sure.
and just try
That's
to
fine,
think.
sure. Just
out
think about it.
Damn, well, we need to get that on like on
Get it on
standby
autoplay?
just all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're all really good. Bane, I guess. No, not Bane. I don't fucking know, guys.
Wait, what was the question? What hero would you like
What's
to
the
take on
most
a date?
under?
We've already passed that one. Most underrated hero. Most
Getting
underrated
flame
hero.
hard, guys. No, I'll go with DK actually. I'll go with DK or Beastmaster. Beastmaster or
I think
DK.
Beastmaster fits that role.
How's DK underrated?
All right,
The
fine.
hero gets raped in lane by everything.
Beastmaster. Beastmaster for sure. Then
I like Beastmaster. All right. Your
We
favorite
do have an MP3.
favorite sports team outside of Dota, like non-esports team. I peg you as a hockey fan.
I am. Sadly, I'm a Sabres fan
Ooh.
Buffalo Bills.
and the Bills, and yeah. So there's that. I enjoy the pain. Apparently, I'm into
Yeah.
masochism,
Yeah,
but.
Yeah, he's a glutton for punishment.
I
It
know.
seems.
Sabres, Sabres are respectable though. I mean, you guys made the playoffs, right?
Are you serious?
Like-
Are you blaming me right now?
Like the last 2 years, the Sabres have been respectable compared to the Bills. The Bills are just a waste of space.
You know what's happening right now in hockey. Do you have any idea?
Yes,
the Sabres
I-
are the worst
Does
team.
I'm just
but-
saying in the last couple years, they have made the playoffs where the Bills have not made the playoffs in how long? It's been a long time. So
Since
Not-
the
not-
80s?
yeah. So I'm saying it's better to be a Sabres fan right now than a Bills fan. There's more hope for you.
I mean, EJ Manuel though. I mean,
That's true.
I
Listen,
mean,
so-
hockey is hockey.
I mean, you could be the
so-
Jets and be stuck with Geno.
You could be the
So let's not
Jets.
get into that one. I'm a Jets fan, so
I'm so happy we won that game. I'm not
Whoa,
gonna.
Frost.
me too. I can't wait. What's up?
Can your team get its own stadium, please?
Listen,
Fucking
I mean-
moochers.
bro, life's hard, man. It's a tough
Giants,
economic
Jets
times,
fans
bro.
are
We just happen to have the worst owner in sports too. Well, I guess the second worst owner, but
Who's
you
the
know.
worst?
Clippers.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
you can spend some money there in
What's
first
his
place right
face?
now.
Whoa, I mean, he was about to lose his, but yeah, that's a story for another day, guys.
That is another day.
Doesn't
That's
wanna
for
show up for
the sports podcast that we're going to start doing next.
Yeah, for sure, I'm down.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, can't wait. That is it for Hot Street questions, unless I can think of something better. Maut, what's your favorite color?
Blue.
Green, I think. I'd say green.
Okay. All right.
You think you don't know what your favorite color is. You have to think
I
about
really
it.
don't, actually. I really
Why?
don't.
Okay, if green is your favorite color, why is orange your Twitch TV color?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Good point. Good point.
Ooh.
You know that. You're like a stalker. You're so
Bro,
Bdiz.
dumpstered again. What's going on? Oh, man.
All right, I'll
This is like
change
your
it.
Enigma game right now, but this is real life. You're like 0 for 5 on the show in like an hour and a half. What's going on?
Listen, you know,
Oh, you changed
Yo, I love you long time. Robert's
Why
the
am I-
one over here.
so hard. I'm gonna go.
Hold on. That's what Robert's doing to you right now. Just saying.
Okay, I want one of those goddamn buttons.
I got you, bro. I got you.
Just get one. All right. Last question. Mott.
Okay.
One night stand. You
Hold
can't-
on. I do
One
want a
night
sword.
stand. Who is it?
Goddamn GG button. And then we go into Maut's last question.
All right. You can-
I've had a bit of Path of Exile lately, and a French Canadian that was at
Exile.
WCS Finals, just like someone says GG, then all of a sudden he hits the button, and it like kind of breaks, and it just says GG like 20 times in a row. We're just sitting there, fucking three of us laughing uncontrollably. It was the best thing ever. That button is.
The button's
fucking-
hilarious. They made a lot of money too.
Yes.
It's always sold out. It's ridiculous.
That
Every time it
button's
comes up, it's sold out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get one I can't. Fucking piece of shit.
It's all good.
All right. Well,
have
what's
an
the last
extra
question?
one.
Here?
All right.
I'll
Final
give
question.
I have like
we're
3.
changing it up. If you have
Alright.
to lose a bet, take your shirt off on stream again. What has to happen?
He has to
If I have to,
easy.
But you can't be like gods, though. You actually have to do it.
if I lose a bet and I have to take my shirt off on stream, what do I have to do? Is that's the question?
Like what bet would like how bad would the bet have to be for you to do that? Again.
Considering I made the bet with myself to take off my shirt the first time,
And wasn't it just like you had to
not
reach a
that-
certain amount of viewers or something, right?
No, it was because Bdiz and EG were playing a game, and
It's
it was
Bdiz's
like you
fault.
either played a lot of Gyrocopter, and I thought you were going to pick Gyrocopter again, and you didn't, or the opposite of that.
That was,
Oh, yeah, no.
that was the most boring bet ever.
Oh yeah, because we had this period where we picked Gyrocopter all the time, and that was when Geo was carried, and then we realized that Geo can't play that hero, so we just stopped picking it altogether.
Like
I
it
think
was
that
like you
happened on
were.
the same day as you made that bet.
It was EMS1 Americas, and you were like, oh, I was like, I'm gonna guarantee they're gonna pick the Gyrocopter or something like that, and then you guys didn't pick it, and I made it like, I'll bet you if they don't pick the Gyrocopter, like I'll take my shirt off if that happens, I'll do it, and then I was just like, well, they didn't pick it, or they did pick it or something, and so
And
then
then
I
a
took
legend that are your nipples were born. Or was
yeah,
born.
Montnips, the Montnips, the hashtag Montnips actually is what it is.
DMailmod.com.
Twitter.com/Montnips.
Oh man.
Follow my nipples on Twitter, please. I'm not even kidding. That's a real thing.
Is it a real thing?
It's a real thing.
This is so much better than I ever suspected.
I follow his nipples on Twitter.
Alright, I'm gonna go follow
has
your
to be
nipples.
for
on
That's
Twitter.
the internet sensation of NA Dota.
Oh, that is so funny.
Unless
That is fun. I didn't know that about you. I didn't know.
See?
You,
Tweakedaudio.com hot seat.
I didn't know you get that freaky.
Teaching
Oh
stuff.
man,
Oh man.
next level.
All right.
Man. Alright.
That's
Thank you, fellas, for coming on. Let's wrap this up before it gets too late. I gotta play some Dota tonight because I got an actual couple hours of free time. Frost, where can people find you? Twitter, all that kind of good stuff.
Frost Dota on Twitter. F3 Frost.
Are you gonna start using it
Stream.
for reals? For realsies?
Maybe. I mean, we'll see what happens. Life's hard. I'd like to shout out actually Steve for the overlays. Of course, he's phenomenal. Lantis Productions. We'll have it up on the YouTube. He did the cutting and editing of the in-game clips. So shout out to Lantis and Adrian, who came up with the drafting screens. All F3, by the way, but we have some of the best guys for production. So I want to thank them, obviously, for doing the best that they could for this
Gotta
show.
give a shout out to Rags.
Also, Rags, my dude, awesome. For his intro, of course. The Bdiz and Maut, they need their own show. What's going on? You guys are phenomenal.
fantastic.
They can
That's
have
gonna be
they can have, they can have this show.
You
They can
need your
show
own
up.
though.
How about
Need your own
this?
show.
You guys come on this show. You guys can keep talking.
Maut and Bdiz
I'll
in
just
the
hang
morning.
out.
What's
I'll
up?
just hang out. I'll drink beer, make sure everything kind of slowly moves along, try to correct the tangents, but then let you three talk about Dota. All right? How's that sound?
All right. Well,
I
what do you
mean,
think, Bdiz?
I see a beer in your hand, but not in my hand.
It's unacceptable.
Like,
That is true. That is true. Why do you get the drink, sir?
There's plenty of beer.
Why
to
can't
go
we
around,
drink?
everybody.
Yeah, I want to drink.
Yeah. There's no one's stopping you. There's like no rule against it. I know
Buy
for
me
me,
beer.
I get 1 day off a week. I'm gonna drink a beer on that day off, so I'm gonna enjoy it. You guys are welcome to join me.
Maybe.
Okay, we will.
All right.
next time.
The offer's there. If you come out to Anaheim, MLG, the offer's there. I will buy you a beer wherever we end up at that night.
That's definitely worth the trip, Finch. Man,
All right.
I might have to take you up on that offer.
How about a whiskey instead?
Even better. I'm a
Scotch.
big fan. I got a bottle
bro,
of
he's
scotch over
soft.
there that
Isn't that
has
hard?
like this much left because we went through it the other night. So I'm a big fan of scotch.
Excellent.
So all right, see, you guys gotta come out to Anaheim. And I'm being selfish because I don't have to buy a plane ticket to that one. I can just drive. It's all about me. All right, Maut, shoutouts.
Let's see here.
I got a question. How come he goes before me?
Fuck you, Bdiz. That's why. How about that?
Because he has a
You
webcam.
can
Saving the best
Wait.
for last,
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah,
Nope.
I'll allow that.
I'm last, second for last.
All right. Shout outs to all of you here. First of all, thank you guys for having me again. It's always a pleasure to join a chat show, especially with you, Finch. It's always a lot of fun.
Anytime,
Frost,
man.
it's always great to talk with you, Hector. It's always a pleasure. Let's see. Shout out to Lee, who's apparently watching right now. So shout out to her. Shout out to
Whoa.
Aaron Stern, who I've got to give a shout out to every goddamn time I do something, because if not, he'll get pissy or something, whatever.
No one likes that.
Shout out to Cap. Shout out to the NEL casting crew. You know who you are. I guess I'll just run through it real quick. Cap, B-Ball and Nisagord, Base Kip, Greg, What is Hip, Sheever, Helium, Kodal Guy, Not Bdiz, Briefcase.
Kodal Guy's the
Actually, I don't know who
best.
that is.
T-Ball
Tejas,
is the man, by the way.
And then I guess if you want to follow me, you can follow me at twitter.com/Maut32, twitch.tv/Maut32, and yeah, that's it.
All right, Bdiz.
What a boss! Did you see that? Yeah, at the end there.
See, he's got that
Somebody
shit
needs to
down.
make a gif of that. Oh, somebody needs to make a gif of that.
I'm really easy on the shout. Shout out to all the viewers that are tuning in live, and also you on the VOD. I'm surprised that you were able to last this long listening to us
I know.
idiots talk about a video game.
Yeah.
That's kind of impressive on your part. Shout out to whatever that chick was that Maut shouted out for being Mrs. Mautnips, because you own. Shout out to my Twitter at BeatisDota. You should follow me. It's a good idea, maybe. I mean, if you don't, I don't really care. I kind of tweet dumb things all the time.
That's fun.
And shout out to the stream that I have that I don't really use. Twitch.tv/Bdiz. Occasionally I'll stream games other than Dota, because right now I'm kind of taking a break from that game.
Who watches Dota?
I watch Dota, but I don't play Dota right
Dota
now.
kind of sucks.
I've been
need
doing
a
that lately
break
too, though.
away from playing it. Like, you know, I spent so much time with the past couple of years playing it. I need to step away, play some dumb games that are goddamn hilarious, like Forced. That was amazing.
Forced. Yeah. All right.
Anyway, yeah, that's about it.
All right, that rounds it out. Thank you guys for watching. You can find me on twitter.com/IndieFinch. Same thing for Twitch, but I'm like Bdiz. I don't really stream ever, unfortunately. That's INDIEFINCH. Shout out to you3 for showing up. Maut, Bdiz, Frost. Thank you guys for coming here. It was a pleasure. You're always welcome. I always need people to show up here to fill these empty windows, or else it'll just be me hanging out. And who wants to watch that?
I think Maut will watch that.
All right,
Hashtag free.
that's fine.
Free Mania.
Yeah, Manny will be back next week.
He's just super busy with life.
He
and
has.
stuff, guys.
He's been really busy with work and school, and he's a bunch of shit.
yeah.
So Mania will be back next week. And so if you're tuned in for Mania, he'll be back again. Big thanks to everybody tuning in live, and also to everybody on the VOD MP3. MP3 people are still the unsung heroes of podcasting. You guys are the main source of fun. And so if you are an MP3 person, please go over to iTunes, leave a review. I hate to be the beggar. You know, I feel like I'm just like a homeless person on the street begging for money. But if you can, leave a review on iTunes. That really helps kind of the ranking system. The way iTunes does it is they're just super screwing everything. For the longest while, you couldn't find the show if you typed in Dota, unless you added like Dota in the title. So I had to add the Dota in the title. So I guess it shows up now because like the tags and stuff don't work. It's very unfortunate. So iTunes is screwy. So you leave a review, please do it. It helps people find the show. And that's all I got. So big thanks to everybody for showing up. Thanks to everybody listening. We'll be back next week with another episode of First Pick. And lastly, shout out to the people who did coaching this week. I had 3 people I coached this week, so shout out to them for showing up and having fun. Hopefully they learned Dota because yeah, Dota's pretty cool, and you're learning from me. So I guess that's saying a little bit. I don't know if that helps you or not, but yeah. So thank you guys. We'll see you next week in another episode of First Pick. I'm not sure what the match of the week will be, but we'll hopefully figure something out. We'll see you guys next week. Take care. Bye.
Guys, don't forget the gift.
Your turn
Make
to
that
pick.
Maut gift.
Those 30 viewers, man.
Oh, yes.
Somebody's gonna do it. Watch.
I hope so. No one's been gifting me yet. I'm very sad.
Well, that show's hilarious. Bro. You look like a fucking pro. Like, oh, yeah. You look. Alright, someone's gonna do it. That's just gonna be the next hot thing.
Yes. Hey, could be
Pro
worse.
Cake says he's gonna fucking do it, so I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's all you need is just
somebody.
one guy. That's it. You're gonna be an immortal.
Man, all I get is I get people making images of me looking like Loda.